This will be the last sales objection training you'll ever need in your sales career because I'm going to be explaining how to handle money, partner, think about it, logistical, fear objections, or any other smokescreen objection that you would have closed if you had this video. And no, this isn't just about me reading off a bunch of word tracks. I'm going to be playing live clips of me, either on sales calls or role plays.
I'm so in. This is what I'm looking for.
Where I use the exact same reframes, the tone, and the techniques so you know how to tangibly implement this on your next sales call and close your next deal. And this is coming from a closer who spent more than $50,000 on sales training, closed for big names like Jeremy Miner and Ryan Pineda, and I've collected over $8 million in sales and got up to a 90% close rate. So put your phone on Do Not Disturb, put it in the other room, unless you're watching it on your phone, and pay close attention. All right, let's dive into the objections. So just so you understand what this is my objection handling roadmap. This is something I give all my students that I work with. So the very first thing we need to understand when we take a look at this is there is a difference between smokescreen objections, which are these up here, real objections, and then decision-making process objections. Real quick overview, what's the difference? Smokescreen objections are objections that people tell you, but they're not real, okay? There is something that is underlying that is causing them to tell you that objection. For example, I need to think about it, or them telling you, hey, can you just send me this all in email? There's an underlying concern there that they're not telling you, and they're masking it through a smokescreen, so it's not real. So if you just tried to handle, oh, can you send this all in an email, or can I talk to referrals, or can I talk to other companies? If you just try to handle it at face value, you're not going to get very far because it's not the real objection. There's something that's underneath it that is causing them to feel that way. Because if they were completely sold on whatever it is you're selling, they wouldn't be asking to talk to referrals. The talking to referrals is a way for them to get whatever it is they need, whether it's certainty about the money, whether it's their decision-making process. It's not the real objection. So the first thing we have to understand is smokescreen objections are not real objections. And we'll go over that a little bit more in detail. Then we have the real objections. This is time, money, and value. Now, if you're doing it correctly, you should be tying off value before you even present the price. So really, the only two objections you should have is time and money. And then from there, we have our decision-making process. So this is going to be slightly different from time and money because it's just how they make decisions around how they spend their money and how they spend their time. So these are going to be a little bit more logical arguments because they're not objecting to the money per se, but they're objecting to how they spend their money or the decision-making process in terms of them making a decision when it comes to a bigger investment. So it is still under like time and money, but you handle it a slightly different way. So the first thing we're going to cover is probably the most common smokescreen into the most common objection, which is a think about objection that 9 times out of 10 is going to flush to a real money objection, which you actually have to handle. Okay, because real objections are objections you can actually handle. You can't handle like I need to think about it, but you can handle, oh, that's a lot of money, or I don't have the money. These are things we can actually handle. So when somebody says a smokescreen, the goal always is you need to flush it into a real objection. Time, money, value. Once you flush it to a real objection, either an actual logistical or decision-making objection, then you can actually handle it. The most common one that is going to come up for most people is think about it objection. So if somebody says, I need to think about it, the first and foremost thing you have to understand is that is not a real objection. But the second thing you need to keep in your mind is if they're telling you they need to think about it, either there's one of two things. Number one, they're a bit fearful, right? So they just don't want to come out and say what the true objection is. Or number two, you don't really have the rapport built up there in order to get the real objection out of them. Either way, what you need to do is slow them down. Because if you are quick, especially in objection handling, especially at the beginning, especially when you do not know what the actual objection is, understand when somebody is fearful, okay, their brain is sped up. So if you are also quick, you're just going to cause their brain to speed up more, which is just cause them to be in fight or flight even more. So what you need to do is you need to pace people and you need to pace them to be slower. And if they're paced to be slower, then they can actually start thinking about it more logically instead of fearfully and make better decisions. So anytime you get to think about an objection or any objection to begin with, the very first thing I'm always going to do is I'm going to take a sip of water. Why do I do that? Number one, It allows me to slow down and start to think more strategically about where I'm going to be going in the conversation. Number two, it allows them to slow down so they can actually receive what I am saying to them. Because a big thing you have to understand, it's not only the words that you say, it's can they receive the words that you're saying? And how they receive the words that you're saying, a lot of it comes down to how do they view you? Do they view you as a salesperson who's jumping down their throat? Or do they view you as somebody who's actually there trying to help them? Okay, that is the only way you're going to get somebody across the line is if they actually view you as somebody trying to help them. Because if they view you that way, then they can actually receive the information you're saying. So the very first thing you're going to do if somebody says, for example, I need to think about it, is you're flushing it to a real objection. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the money. Now, if they give you multiple objections, you always go money if you hear it. The reason being is if you handle money, all the objections, other objections either go away or they're so much easier to overcome. So money is the big thing that we always have to make sure it's completely crossed off. So if they say they need to think about it, the very first thing you need to do, again, slow down. And this is what you're going to say. Okay, that's not a problem. And just so I can send over the most relevant information possible, what do you feel like you need to go over in your head just to see if I can help? Now, what am I doing? I'm diffusing and I'm asking them what do they need to go over in their head just to see if you can help. So again, it's a nonchalant way of asking, what do you need to think about? Now, the reason that you don't say, well, hey, what do you need to think about? It's very straightforward. People will shut down. So you just got to say it in a more roundabout way to get people to be open. Also, another thing that I see people do is they go ahead and they book a call and then they're like, okay, and like, what do you need to go over? Just so I'm ready for the next call. The reason why I'm not going to do that, especially in high ticket sales environment, is it gives people an easy out. Okay. So again, I've done it both ways. When I was first learning, under Jeremy Minor and stuff like that, I tried it his way. Okay. And I just noticed that people are a lot more squirmy when you already book a call versus you just nonchalantly ask them what they need to think about. You still get the same outcome, but they don't have the emotional out that you guys have already booked the call. So 9 times out of 10, what's going to happen is you're going to get the money objection. Okay. So they're going to tell you oh yeah, it's just a lot of money, whatever it is. Now, if you're unsure about what do they mean, you always want to go ahead and clarify and then diffuse. Well, what do you mean by that? And okay, that's not a problem. Money aside, would you do it? Now, the reason why you're always going to want to isolate the objection and get buy-in is because you need to get them to admit not only to you, but to themselves, if this objection wasn't here, they would actually move forward with it. Okay. That means every other objection they were talking about is just shit. Okay. It's not real. That way you can actually handle the real objection. Now, what can happen is if you say, hey, money aside, would you do this? And they say no, or I'm unsure, then you do need to handle something else. But if you've done the sales call correctly up until this point, you should get an emphatic yes. And then you need to ask, why would you do it? Now, it's not only good that they said, oh, I would do it. You need to get them to defend their position. So anytime somebody takes a step in your direction, what you need to do is cause them to defend that step in your direction. It is convincing themselves. They're talking to themselves. They're not only talking to you, they're talking to themselves. And more importantly, you want to ask, why actually invest in yourself to get the emotional outcome that they want? Why actually invest in yourselves to get XYZ goal? So not only do you want their why of why they would do the program, you want their why in terms of emotional outcome. And the reason being is if you understand their emotional why, that's what you actually use to overcome whatever objection is that they have. Because most people, okay, when they have an objection, they have their emotional why they would do it, and then they have their objection. But for most, their objection is so much bigger than their why. But if you actually get them to talk about their emotional why, even though they talked about it in discovery, it's been 10, 15, 20 minutes since they actually talked about it. The emotion is gone, or they're fearful. They're not focusing on that. If you get them to actually start talking about their emotional why and get them to see that it is bigger than their objection, that's how you overcome it. And you bringing up and you getting them to say what their emotional why is and actually using their words, that is key. When you get their emotional why, you need to use their words. That's what allows you to do things for people. If you ever notice, if you're going through, any type of objection handling or different things along those lines, and you get people to say hey, you're good at this, or hey, I know you want the sale, or something like that, they're challenging your intent. Oftentimes it's because you didn't really get their emotional why or you're not customizing what you're saying to the person, which it comes across like you're using a technique rather than you're doing it for them rather than you actually. So it comes across like you're doing a technique and you're doing it to them rather than you doing it for them. It should always come across like you're doing it for them rather than to them. Okay. So that's why getting the emotional outcome is super key. Now, from there, especially if there is a objection or a certain way that they're talking about the money, I need to reframe the money. Now, if somebody tells you like, hey, I don't have the money, but I get paid Friday and I can go ahead and do it. That is a purely logistical objection. You probably don't need to reframe the money. But most people, what they'll do is they'll say, oh, I need to think about it. It's expensive. It's this, it's that, it's that. Like they're throwing their hands up and they're giving up, which means there is a certain way that they're thinking about the money that is not going to help you get a real good answer out of them when you try to come to a payment plan and try to understand what they have, because they have a limiting belief around the money. Okay. So that's why you need to go ahead and reframe the money. So that way, when you ask, hey, what do you have? How much money do you have? Or can you do this payment plan? They are going to be more likely to tell you the truth. If you go right into the numbers and there's an underlying belief and we don't address it, the likelihood that they're going to be open and they're going to be honest about the money they have is going to be much lower. So the reliability of their answers are just lower in general. So I would say there are two ways to reframe the money. Now, there are multiple ways you can do this, but these are going to be the two simplest ways to go ahead and reframe the money. Now, we can do it for an ROI offer, which means you help people make more money, or a non-ROI offer, which means you don't help people make more money. This is more like fitness. Okay. This is more like a biz op. This is more like fitness, for example. So if it's an ROI offer, an easy breezy reframe that you can use is like, hey, which is a problem, which is a symptom? Well, if you had XYZ solution, would you have that money problem? So the actual problem is you don't have XYZ solution, and the symptom is you don't have the money. Would you agree? So what's riskier? Finding the money so you can actually solve the real problem, or keep focusing on the symptom. You don't do anything about this and it gets worse. Why? Okay, well, what happens if you focus more on the symptoms and you stay where you're at right now? What would be the day-to-day ramifications if things stay the same for the next year? Are you willing to allow that to happen? So let's walk through it. So very first and foremost, like, what am I doing here? Now, I understand that this reframe has been overused because of like Instagram and different shit like that. But again, you can check the timestamps. First one to put it out. Okay. Not the point. There are tons of ways that you can reframe the money. All you're doing here with which is a problem and which is a symptom is you're just shifting what the meaning of words are. So it's an NLP technique, basically saying shifting the meaning of what the actual problem is and what the symptom is. And understand, most of the people you talk to have not heard these reframes. I know as a salesperson, you hear these reframes all the time. It makes sense. These should not be new to you. But if you are talking to people, it is going to be new to them unless they hopped on a ton of sales calls. But all you're doing is you're shifting the meaning of what the problem is versus what the symptom is. And you're getting them to admit that the real problem is the fact that they don't have the skill set to make the money. And because of that, they don't have the money to go ahead and pay in full, or it's a lot of money to them. You need to customize what they said. You need to customize to what they actually said. Because like what will happen a lot of times is you'll use a reframe, and because you're so fucking generic with it, because you don't actually customize to what they said, it comes across like a technique. But if you use the same frame and you customize it to what they said, it will actually land. Why? Because you're having a real conversation. Here's an example. If they said, hey, that's a lot of money to me right now, I would say like, hey man, like what's the problem? What's the symptom? Well, if you actually had the right skills to be closing the way that you needed to and be making that 20,000 per month, like would you have that money problem? Yeah. So the actual problem is you don't have the skills to make 20,000 per month. And because of that, then $8,000 seems like a lot of money to you. Like, would you agree? I'm repeating back exactly what they said. Now, if they say, hey, I don't have the money, I'm going to repeat back that. So it just depends on what they actually objected to. I'm going to customize and repeat back to them. So then from there, it's like, okay, so what's riskier? You finding the money so you can actually solve the real problem, or you keep focusing on the symptom and you don't do anything about it, or, God forbid it gets worse. So then from there, I'm giving them a binary option. I'm doing a reframe, and you'll see this pattern throughout. It's pretty simple. Okay. We identify what the objection is. We identify what the objection is. We go ahead, we ask for permission to go ahead and reframe. We reframe, we offer a binary, which means, hey, is this option or this option better? Then get them to double down why, and then we consequence. This is how we go ahead and we address the beliefs. Okay. So that's what I do here. So I give a binary. Hey, what's riskier, this or this? Now, you always want to make sure that the thing that you want them to say is the second part of the binary. Why? Because they're more likely to repeat back what they just said. So it's like, hey, what's actually riskier? Okay. You going ahead and, finding the money so you could solve the problem, or is it riskier for you to stay the same? Things get worse. They're going to say, oh, it's riskier to stay the same. Why is it though? I need to get them to defend the belief. Anytime they take a step in my direction, I need them to defend the belief. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to consequence. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to double down on consequence. Getting good emotional consequences is what causes the urgency. Half the time, it's not the fact that the reframe and the consequence questions that you're asking, it's not that they're not landing or they're not good questions. It's the fact that they're not landing as hard as they need to be. Okay, we need to make sure we go the extra step and we get good emotional consequences. So we need to make sure there's emotion. So, like, what happens if you focus on the symptoms and you stay where you are at now? Okay, consequence. Now, if they give me a really good consequence question, so if they give me a really good consequence answer right there, I'll just go ahead and I'll move on. But oftentimes, again, you have to ask it twice and you have to double down to get a really good answer. So another way to ask that is like, hey, what would be the day-to-day ramifications if things stay the same for the next year? Are you willing to allow that to happen? Like, no. And then from there, you go to commitment. Now, again, the non-ROI, all you're doing is you're taking out the, hey, which is a symptom, what's the problem, what's the symptom? Like, what's riskier? Invest in yourself so you could get outcome, or keep doing what you're doing now and, it gets worse. Again, customize to what they said. Why is that? What happens if it gets worse? What are the day-to-day ramifications if the things stay the same for the next year? Are you willing to allow that to happen? Okay. Now, after we reframe the money, what we're doing is we're getting commitment. Now, why do I want to get commitment before I just start talking about money? Because I need to get them to tell themselves and tell me that they're committed to make it happen. So money is the easy part. The hard part is the commitment to change. Are you committed to change? Why though? Now, the reason I do that, again, if they're committed to change, then they're going to do whatever it takes to change. Now, if it's purely logistical, I will just change. I will go over the reframe and I'll just go straight to commitment. Okay. I was like, hey, money aside, would you do this? Yes. Why? Why actually invest in yourself? Okay. So it's like, okay, and we can figure the money part out. Money part is easy. The hard part is just your commitment to change. Are you committed to change? Why though? Once you get their commitment to change, then you're going to go into negotiation. Now, how do you have leverage in negotiation? You have leverage in negotiation by understanding what they have. The problem with most people, when they go into negotiation, they just talk about payment plans. They show all their fucking cards. And then there's like, hey, does this payment plan work? Does this payment plan work? Does this payment plan work? Right? And then it's just never ending, basically battle where you don't have any leverage at that point. So what you want to do in negotiation is you want to understand what they have, and you just ask it in a very straightforward way. And if you need to, you can go into the numbers like, hey, how much you have in your bank account? Like how much you have in credit, how much you have saved over each month. Oftentimes you don't need to do that, but if you need to drill down into the numbers, go ahead and drill down. So this is how I go into it most every time. Okay, because I care about you and I want to see you win. Let's not focus on what we can't do. Let's focus on what we can do. Bills, expenses aside, what do you actually have available? Tie them down. What do they have available right now? Not what do they have available tomorrow? What can they get? None of that. What do you actually have currently at this moment? And after you understand what do they currently have at this moment, then that's when you're going to get payment plans, get a timeline of getting the funds. Do they have credit, funding, whatever it is? And then you go ahead and you take the payment. Okay. Whatever it is, you go ahead and take payment. Now, for whatever reason, if they don't move forward, that's when you get into fear or decision making, and we'll get to that next. But just so you understand how this actually works in practice, what you're going to see now is a real life sales call example where somebody had a money objection, a bit of fear, and I went ahead and handled it using these exact word tracks. Let's dive into it.
Like no questions, but it's just like, damn, $8,000.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, would that work for you?
Like it would, but it's just like I'm just a little, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what's coming up for you, man? Like, again, like we're on the same team here.
Like I don't want to say like I don't want to say scared, but I feel like I'm a bit scared. Like what if the accountability isn't there? Like I'm just
Okay.
like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And
Like,
dude, I can get where you're coming from. If you just put money aside for a second, like
yeah,
would you do it?
yeah.
Why would you do it though?
I mean, I see like what you laid out. Like this would
Well,
work.
with again, like take the program out of it. Like, why would you actually invest in yourself to make sure you can make more money, you get the status and everything you're looking for?
If I don't, who's gonna do it?
Yeah. But why would you do it though?
So I could get better.
Right. So it just comes down to can I make a suggestion? Because I can get you're a bit fearful.
Yeah.
Like, which do you feel like is riskier at the end of the day? Do you continue to hold on to this fear like we have been, and we
Hmm.
continue the same cycle that we have been for the past
Yeah.
4 months? Or we shape this fear, we take action, we bet on ourselves, so that way we can actually change what we're doing. Like, which one do you feel like is actually riskier?
Just waiting and not taking action.
Why?
Because if that's the case, I'm just gonna continue leaving, 14 grand on the table each and every
Yeah.
single month.
Well, what happens if you continue to leave the money on the table?
Nothing good. It's just I'm staying where I am.
Yeah. And how are you going to get out of staying where you're at if you don't learn the skills to actually start making the commissions and start creating urgency in your uh, prospects?
I guess I'll never learn. But like,
But do you want to stay in that cycle?
no.
So why right now are you choosing it?
I think it's really just because I'm scared. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
just lose on 8 grand.
And I can appreciate that there's a bit of fear there. Because like I've been in your seat before, so there's no judgment on my end. But when it comes down to fear, there's really two types of fear. It's like we're a deer in the headlights. So
Hmm.
it's like right now we're crossing the road, and then the headlights are coming towards us, of us staying the same, us being average.
Yeah.
And we can either freeze up, let it hit us, or we can use that fear to get out of the way. Which one would you rather do?
I want to get out of the way.
Okay. Why?
If I don't, I'm gonna get hit.
Okay. Well, what happens if you get hit?
I just continue being who I am, like average, just
Yeah. And it's like, and now you're being real.
yeah.
And I appreciate that, dude. Like, dude, money, that's the easy part. We can figure that stuff out. The hard part is just you committing to not being that guy who's average. The hard
Hmm.
part is you committing to being the best version of yourself. So
Yeah.
are you actually committed?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're committed, man, we can figure it out. Let's not focus on what we can't do. Let's focus on what we can do. Like bills, expenses aside, like what are you actually working with? And we can see like how can we make this work for you?
I mean, I could put down like 4 grand
Okay. Can you do five?
and 45 maybe.
Okay. Well, dude, if you can do 45, here's what we can do. We can split it into two payments to where we can do
Hmm.
45 now and then 35 in 30 days. Like, would that help?
That honestly relieve a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, 45 now, 35 in 30 days. Like, that would fit in your budgetary restraints.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. That fits in your budgetary restraints, dude. And we're actually committed to, like, not be the person we have been. What do you feel like we need to do now?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's fucking do it, dude. Sign you up. Just need a little bit of info from you, and then we get everything all set up and we get your first one-on-one booked. Okay, next, after we go over money, let's go over a couple of decision-making process reframes that we can do as well. So this is also something that will happen when we get a think about it objection or we get like a partner objection at the top and we try to flush it out to a real objection, but they say, hey, this is just how I make decisions. This is something that's not uncommon. So if they say, hey, I need to think about it, and you're like, hey, this is just how I make decisions, right? Or they say, I need to talk to my partner, and you're like, hey, what do you need to go over with your partner just to see if I can help, right? There's like, oh, this is just how I make decisions. Then from there, we need to go ahead and clarify, get buy-in, and then actually address the decision-making process. So I'll show you how you do partner, okay? So generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, if they say, hey, everything sounds great, I just need to talk to my partner, that's the first objection that they tell you. It's just like, think about it, objection. All you need to do is you need to flush it out to a real objection. You're like, okay, that's not a problem. Just so I can send you over the most relevant information, what's that conversation mostly going to be about? Now, I'm going to emphasize the mostly just so I don't get I don't know exactly what it's going to be about. Well, what's it mostly going to be about? Oh, it's going to be about the money, okay? Handle the money. Now, you will get people that say like, hey, this is just how I make decisions. And it's like, okay, not an issue. What do you mean this is just how you make decisions? And that's not a problem. I guess if you just, talking to your partner's side, would you go ahead and do this? Why would you do this? Why would you invest in yourself? Again, I'm getting the double buy-in on the actual emotion. Then from there, what I'm doing is if they didn't mention anything about the money, I'm going to cross off money. Because even though they might not be mentioning money, money is always the elephant in the room. You always want to make sure it is completely crossed off the list. So after you get the buy-in, like, hey, why actually invest in yourself? You're going to ask them, does the investment actually work for you? They need to say yes. If they waffle at all, you go down the money route. If they say, "Oh yeah, I think I can make it work," well, you don't sound too sure, man. I guess like money aside, would you just go ahead and do this? Oh yeah, I would. Right? Go ahead and do it. Or if they say, "Yeah, I can get the money," again, that means they don't have the money. So, does the investment work for you? You talk to your wife tomorrow, like tonight. You can go ahead and move forward tomorrow. Yes. So the investment actually works for you and your budgetary restraints. I'm always going to make sure I am extra explicit about the money actually working for them. And if they waffle at all, just go money. You'd be surprised. Most people will waffle here, and then you don't have to go down these harder routes. You just handle the money, which is much more easy and straightforward, and then you just get the sale. Now, if you understand it is a decision-making process, and let's just say, for example, it is partner, then we need to go ahead and make sure we handle the partner objection. So if they say, oh yeah, like it definitely works in my budget. Partner, if the partner was here, they said yes, I'd definitely do it. Like we got all this buy-in up here. Then we're gonna ask, hey, what happens though if you go to them and for whatever reason, they're not on board with you spending the funds? Like, is this something that's completely dead in the water or will you still do it? So is it an FYI conversation or are you asking for permission? Now, if they say, for example, hey, I would still do it, then from there, you're just going to ask for the sale, right? So this is an off ramp. If they just say like, oh yeah, like I would do it, right? If they weren't there, then that's an off ramp. Just go ahead and ask for the sale. It's like, okay, so if you're going to do it regardless, whether they're on board or not on board, then the next steps from here is like pretty simple. We just go ahead and do this, and that, right? We just go for the close. Now, half the time that will work with those types of people. The other half, it's not going to work. And then the people who say like, oh no, I wouldn't do it without my partner, that still needs to be addressed. So for those people, we need to go down the responsibility route. So we need to get them to admit that is their responsibility for whatever it is that they're doing, whatever it is that you're selling. So what you're going to do is you're like, hey, can I make a suggestion? Whose responsibility is it for you to actually get to goal? Okay. You need to get them to buy in that they are responsible. If they start equivocating, if they start moving the goalpost, if they say like, oh, like we're both responsible, you need to drill down and get them to admit they are responsible. Okay. Men do this shit a lot, right? Bunch of bitches. So if you're talking to somebody, let's say, for example, in like sales training, right? I'm like, hey, who's responsible for you to actually like go and get the training? That way you could double your commissions. Well, like, oh yeah, but like we work as a team. It's like, hey, I'm not saying you guys don't work as a team, but who's actually responsible to go and actually get the training so you can make more in sales? Well, I'm responsible. You need to make sure you get that. Okay. And it reminds me of the phrase, and then you're going to go right into an analogy, right? The reason why I love to use analogies and reframes and metaphors rather than talking directly at them is because even if they don't agree with the overarching point that you're making, they're more likely to go along with you and agree if they agree with the overarching metaphor, if they agree with the actual metaphor that you're using. So that's why metaphors are super, super like OP in terms of being able to overcome objections. Now, it reminds me of the phrase, heavy is the head that wears a crown. Ever heard of that phrase? It's an old Shakespeare quote, right? And it goes like, heavy is a head that wears a crown. And it's not because it's heavy because of gold and jewels. It's because being a leader, that's heavy. Like, I know me as the leader of my family, my business, I know I have to make the tough decisions because I'm responsible. Do you get what I mean? So then from there, you should get buy-in, actually get them to say yes. Okay. And then from there, you need to go, so is it fair to them, given that you're the one responsible, you're the one that's going to have to come in and do the work to try to take off that crown and put it on their head? Well, why not? Now, again, this is another key point. You need to get them to admit it is not fair. This is another place they can try to equivocate, because at this point, it's very clear the point you're making. And some people will just agree. Other people will try to fight back and say, oh, well, that's not what I'm doing. Hey, man, I'm not saying that is what you're doing. But hypothetically, man, is it fair to take off that crown and put it on someone else's head, given you're responsible? No, I mean, like, no, it's not fair. Well, why not? Right? You need to make sure you double down and you actually get it. This you need to fight for, because if you can't get them to buy in on this point, the rest of the framing makes no sense. For the responsibility one too. Okay. Then from there, after we get the buy-in that it's not fair, then we're gonna go in, okay, into, hey, and they'll feed off your conviction. I'm not saying don't have that conversation. We just need to decide what conversation to have. So which conversation would you rather have? You go to them with all these problems and now you have a big bill to pay, or you go to them and you show them how you've already solved the problem and you lead them to that decision. Why? Okay, so what am I doing? So I'm shifting the meaning of what having the conversation with your partner is. In their head, the meaning is, hey, I want to go ahead and have this conversation before I do anything. I'm saying, hey, you can either do that and go to them with all these problems, or you can have the conversation showing them what you've done and you lead them to that decision. Especially when you're talking about men, they want to fall into that frame, they want to be the leader. So it's like, dude, really, really easy way to get them to say, no, I want to lead them to that decision. Well, if you want to lead them to that decision, motherfucker, give me your money, right? So it's a real easy way to shift the meaning of, like, you don't want to fight them on, hey, don't have the conversation. No, it's what conversation do you want to have? Do you want to have a leadership conversation? Do you want to lead them? Yes. Why? That's what you get a buy-in on. Okay. And then from there, I always diffuse with humor. So I get the buy-in that, yeah, I want to lead them because of this, and this. And then from there, what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of the pressure off. Okay. And if you go to her and she's like, no, you're going to make way too much money and buy a Ferrari and leave me for a 21-year-old. Like, if she tells you that, like, we'll give you your money back. The money isn't the important part. It's the commitment to change. So are you committed to change? Again, like we're doing the money, I'm shifting what's important, because everyone always has in their head, money's the important part. Like, no, money is not important. Commitment is important. I don't give a fuck about the money. I care about your commitment to change. You need to have that conversation, which is, you can be much more straightforward and you'll have a much deeper conversation. Okay. So then from there, so what do we have to do to get outcome? Now, I would say 60 to 70% of the time, this is all you need. But other times you do need to go a little bit harder in the paint on partner. So what I'll be showing is a role play I did with one of my clients where he was having a hard time actually overcoming partner objections, because again, he could get that part through, but it was taking it the extra step that he was having a hard time with. So watch this role play where he plays somebody who is very tough, partner objection, and I have to take it the extra step. Okay, cool, man. Like, would that work for you?
Yeah. Just let me chat about it to the wife first.
Okay. Yeah, not an issue on that one. Just so I can send you over the most relevant information, I guess, like, what is that conversation mostly going to be about, just to see if I can help on my end?
Just this is like we're a unit, so we just make every decision together. Just want to make sure she's on board with everything.
Okay, cool. And then, like, as far as like being on board, because like I know, like, my fiance, she focuses on different things than I do. I guess, like, what's the main thing you guys would focus on and really like go over, just to see how maybe I can help?
Oh, just everything you walk me through, man. This is just how we run our marriage. So
Okay. Yeah, not an issue, man. In terms of like what we did cover though, do you feel like, if she gave you a thumbs up, you'd just be good to go? We can just like dive on in, the investment, everything, like it actually works for you?
well, yeah, she gave me a thumbs up, but like right now it's kind of up in the air. So
Okay. Well, I'm saying, like, if she did, just so we're, again, like, we're on the same page, like the investment and
yeah,
everything like that
if she
actually
did,
works in your budgetary restraints.
yeah.
Okay. But why would you actually, I guess, like, do it though? Like, why would you invest?
Because just everything you laid out, it sounds super good.
Yeah, but I guess like the real thing I'm trying to get at is like why actually invest in yourself so again you can make more money and actually give yourself more of that time we were talking about.
Because I need to, like, at this point, like,
Uh,
something should shift.
yeah, and I appreciate like it should shift, but when it comes down to it, nobody's gonna force you, right? So it's like, why do you feel like you need to?
Um, just because, like, yeah, like, it's just been like I've just lost so much over the past like just a couple of years of not doing anything. So like it
Yeah,
should
and
shift,
it's
but I still
and
gotta go
and
talk to her.
and are you done just like losing things? Because like some people they'll continue to lose it, but like you done actually losing things?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm gonna have
Okay.
to chat with her.
No, that's good. That's good, man. I guess I'm just curious. So, is your wife like typically supportive of you like actually making more money like for the family so you guys can have more time?
Yeah, yeah, but we're units, so like I just gotta make sure
No,
I
no,
don't
I can,
prioritize.
I can, I can definitely appreciate that. And if you do just go to her, because again, maybe she just doesn't know us, or just things that we do over here, and she's just not on board with you actually investing in yourself so you can make more money for the family. I guess like what happens then? Is it like totally just dead in the water, or are we still gonna find a way to make it happen?
Um, no, I mean like she wouldn't say no. Like typically she's super supportive, so it's
Yeah,
just
and
making
I
sure
can
like
I can
she
definitely
knows
appreciate
where
that
I
she's
invest.
super supportive and like I'm glad you do have that in your corner, man. But if we did play a little bit devil's advocate here, right? Just doing my job. If she did say no, is it something that's like totally dead in the water, or is it something we'd still figure out a way to do it?
Um, like if she says like no, like I'm never gonna invest, and like it's kind of hard to do it like past that point, just because we're units. So I just want to
Yeah,
make sure I don't
no,
upset the wife. You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
can
Like
I can appreciate that.
I gained her trust
Um,
by keeping her in the loop, so just want to make
yeah,
sure.
no, I can see where you're coming from. Can I share a perspective around that?
Yeah.
Because when we're talking about that, it really just comes down to like ultimately though, like who's ultimately responsible for you coming into the program, actually doing the work that's required so you can actually make the money and give yourself more time.
I definitely get where you're going with this. It's just like this is just how we
Well,
run our
I'm not
marriage. Like,
going I'm not going anywhere. I'm trying to understand. Like ultimately who's responsible to come in and put in the work.
well, yeah, like I'm responsible, but like it's still both
But
of our decision.
why would
But
you say that though?
well, because like I'm gonna be running the business, but at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
it's
And
both
I
of
can
us.
I can
So,
appreciate like, admitting that you're going to be the one running the business. Because it reminds me of the phrase. Have you ever heard the phrase like heavy is the head that wears the crown?
no.
It's an old Shakespeare quote, right? And it's like a lot of people think like the crown's heavy because like golden jewels, but it really comes down to like the burden of responsibility. Because like I know as a leader in my family, my business, I have to make the tough decisions for all those I'm responsible for. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just
So would it
like
be
I
fair
gotta run it by
to
myself.
your wife, given that you're the one that's responsible, to take off that crown and then put it on her head?
Well, it's like I'm not like I'm not like, really trying to put it on
No,
her head. I'm just more so like just
and
running
I
it by
get
her. You know what I
that's
mean?
and I get that's where you're coming from, but would it be fair if you did try to take off that crown and put it on her head?
Well, it's like that's not really what I'm trying to do. Just like keep her
But would it
informed,
be
like keep her
and
happy
I
marriage
can appreciate like keeping her informed, but would it be fair to put that responsibility on her
of like
of
running the
like
business.
the actual running the business? Like, is that fair to her, given that she's not responsible and you are?
Um, like I have to keep her in the loop on like a lot of things.
Yeah, and
So,
it's like I'm not saying we don't keep her in the loop. I'm saying is it fair to put the responsibility on her?
um, like the thing is, like I've made decisions without her in the past, and they
Yeah.
haven't fully worked out. So, like I have to keep her in
And
the loop now.
we can have a chat about that, right? But that's a whole other issue as far as like is it fair to her to put the responsibility on her, given that you're the one that actually has to do the work. So it's
Um,
like be real with me because I'm on your team. But is it fair?
no.
Why not?
Well, because like I get like I'm gonna be the one coming in and putting the work and like running the
Yeah.
business, but
And
like
that's really what it
she's
comes down to, man. Because I'm not saying like, hey, don't have the conversation. Really, at the end of the day, we just have to decide like what conversation are we gonna have? Because we got two options. Like number one, we can go to her. Now we got all these bills to pay, right? And we got a big problem. Okay. Or option two is we can show her how we solved our problem and be able to lead her to that decision. Which conversation would you rather have?
well, it's like either way I've got to have like just like a conversation, just like
Yeah,
running
and it's
by
like,
her. You
and
know what I mean?
again, like
So,
we're on the same page, like having the conversation. You just got to choose which one. Would you rather go to her, got a big problem now, all these bills to pay, or would you rather show her how you solve the problem and lead her to that decision?
um, like it's just like I've got to run it by her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and again,
just
like I'm
with
I'm
the way
on your
everything
team,
is.
but it's like right now we're not deciding on like, okay, are we running it by her? We're deciding how we are running it by her. And we only have two options. So would you rather go to her, big bill to pay, and all these problems, or actually lead her to the decision? Which one do you think?
Um, like I get like the running it by her. It's
Okay,
it's just like
yeah,
I've um like yeah, like I'll go to her and like I'll make sure like, talk to her and like try and
yeah.
convince her.
But how are
But
you
like
gonna
she's not
go
the
to
type of
her?
person that
Right? Are we
just
gonna go to
yeah.
her, try to convince her, tell her all the problems we have, and like, okay, now I got a big bill to pay, honey? Or are we gonna lead her to that decision and show that we're worth and we're worthy of being trusted? Like, which one are we gonna do?
Well, it's like I have to keep her in the loop, you know what I mean? So,
Okay. But the question I have to ask is, why do you feel like you have to keep her in the loop?
well, because just that's just how we operate as a unit.
Has that always been how you operated?
Um, for like a good chunk of the time.
Okay. What was it like before?
Well, like there are some decisions I made where like she wasn't
hmm
involved and like they ended up going shit. So
Okay. What happened, dude?
now it's just how we run our marriage just since then. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be hard to break that rule.
What do you mean it went shit? Like, what happened?
Like it just went bottoms up. Like it was a crypto
hmm
scam. So
Okay. So we got scammed before. And I can understand where you're coming from with that. Can I be pretty straightforward with you without you getting upset at me?
yeah, go ahead.
Like if I was your wife, from what you're telling me and what we've chatted about, I would need to be kept in a loop too. Because I wouldn't trust you outside of it. And I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying this because I care, but that's on us. That's because of how we showed up. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is how are you ever going to break out of that loop and actually gain her trust back unless you show her?
Well, I mean, like it's kind of like a chicken or egg, right? Because
Yeah.
maybe like the loop just doesn't even need to be broken if I just go to her. Like it'll be like a really quick conversation that like I have.
Yeah, and I can
So
appreciate like you feel like it's going to be a quick conversation. But if we're that business owner who actually makes 10,000 per month and actually is that leader and doing the things that we need to do we put the responsibility on anyone else on the actions that need to be taken and the results that we get?
um like no.
Why not?
Because like you're like a business owner who has to
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like I know it's hard and I'm not going to take it away from you, but that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So how are you ever going to step in to be that business owner? Be the person that their wife trusts if we never actually show her that you can be trusted?
Yeah, that's a good point. Um
Like
it's just
how do
like
we be able to do that if we don't show her?
like I could like run it by her super quickly then like when this one pans out because
Yeah.
she'll like I'll
And
make her
again, you
like
you
I can
could
get
you
her to say
could run her
yes.
by it. You can run it by her. But again, how is that going to break you out of the cycle of needing to run it by her because she doesn't trust you?
Maybe if like I like make a good enough of a decision and like she sees that it works out, then like over time, like
Yeah.
she'll
But again,
she'll
how is it
trust
ever
me.
going to work out if you don't take full responsibility for yourself?
Yeah,
Like, how are we going to be able to do it?
I don't know.
And if there is somebody who holds you back from achieving your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, achieving stops you from actually doing the things you know you need to do, like how would you actually feel about that person, whoever it is?
Well, it's like I'm not like my wife isn't like that. You know what I mean? Like she's
And again,
super
like let's take
chill.
your wife out of it. But anybody who holds you back from achieving your actual dreams, your goals, your aspirations, how would you feel about that person?
Uh, like yeah, like not good, but it's not
Why?
like she's not gonna stop me
But
from it. It's
but
just more
why
so
why would you not feel good?
because like it's my goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and this is a real tough question we have to ask. And it's like, dude, I'm in your corner, but I'm saying this because I care. If we don't take this responsibility on ourselves, if we don't actually show her that we can be trusted and we allow her to pull us back from our goals, how are we ever going to become that person who makes 10,000 per month in their own business?
Well, it's not like she's gonna be like holding me back. You know what I mean? Like it's
And
just
again, I appreciate you keep telling yourself that. But if we go to her and we give her the choice on whether we do or don't, how are we ever going to get that trust back and become the person, become the man we need to be, not only for ourselves, but for her?
yeah, you probably can't.
Do you feel like she deserves a partner who she can trust?
Yeah,
So when are you going to start being that guy?
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Be real with me. When are you going to start being that guy? Not for you, but for her.
No, like I get where you're going. Like
But do you though? Because if you did, would we have to have this conversation? Like, and I'm in your corner, man, and I want to see you win. But the question we have to answer is, when are you going to decide to be that person that she can trust?
yeah, like I wanna be that person.
Okay. And I appreciate you want to. Do you need to?
Um, yeah,
Why?
because I just haven't been that person.
And what happens if we continue to not be that person? And we
Just
stay in this same loop for another year, another 2 years, or God forbid, the rest of your life? Like, what happens then?
I mean, like, it probably wouldn't be the for like the rest of my life.
Well, dude, what
At some
happens if
point
you
she'll
stay
trust
there
me.
for another fucking day?
Yeah, like things will just like be the same. You know what I mean?
Okay. And if you wake up tomorrow and you look in the mirror with things being the same, like, be real with me, dude. Like, how does that actually feel?
Yeah, like that's why I'm on this call. So
Like, appreciate we're on the call, dude, but it's like we're having to have a real conversation. Like, how would it feel? We wake up tomorrow, we look in the mirror, and we're that same person that we have been.
yeah, just the same.
But why is that a bad thing? Like, be real with me, dude.
Well, cause like I don't want to keep being the same. Like
Okay. So, what do we have to do to actually not be the same?
yeah, like I gotta just start trusting me.
Okay. What actions do we need to take?
Yeah, like you're saying. It's just like
For us,
yeah, bros.
like, what actions do we need to take? Dude, there's no way out.
Yeah. Damn, that's funny.
You're so tied up in knots, dude.
I know. Only thing I can give left is just straight fear.
Yeah. Then it's just fear.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that for a whole 2 hours.
It's crazy.
Right? So it's like, especially with some, like, you got to get to the root cause of why does somebody feel the need that they have to talk to their partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can always use an analogy. Does Warren Buffett have to talk to his wife?
Yeah.
No, because he's got billions, bro. The reason you have to talk to your wife is because she doesn't trust you. If I was you, if I was her, I wouldn't trust you either. But it's because you haven't shown her. How are we going to break out of that cycle unless we show her?
Yeah. For the
Now, I'm
Warren
only,
Buffett analogy.
go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
I'm only gonna go like there. Like oftentimes, like just a normal like framework that I use for partner will like
Mm.
work 90% of the time. But there's
Yeah.
those people that it's like you just need to like break the reality in order to actually get them across the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. For the Warren Buffett analogy, if you ever run into something where it's like, well, I'm not loaded like Warren Buffett, so I have to talk to my wife.
I was like,
Hey.
well, do you want to change that? Isn't that
Well,
part of the
yeah,
reason
no,
why we're
it's
here?
just-
Well, how are we going to ever change that if we don't actually start acting like we have it? Like,
Okay,
in order
it's
to
like
really get
fitness
to our
version.
goals, like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then you go right into
Yeah.
it. So the next objection that we'll be going over is, hey, I always make decisions this way. Hey, I just need 24 hours. I never make decisions on the spot. Okay. Now, this can come in a ton of different ways. They could say, like, hey, I need to think about it, or I never make decisions this quick. I just need some time, whatever it is. So, the exact same way that you do it with I need to talk to my partner, you do the exact same thing here. It's like, okay, that's not a problem. What do you need to go over in your head just to see if I can help? And they say, hey, that's just how I make decisions. Now, generally speaking, I'm going to try to flush it to something real because money is so much easier to handle than, hey, this is just how I always make decisions. So much easier to handle. So I'm going to try to flush it to something else. If I can't flush it to something else, then I'm going to do exactly what I did on the objection before. Okay, objection aside, with what we covered, would you do this? Why? Why actually invest in yourself? Does this investment actually work for you? So the investment actually works in your budgetary restraints. Yes. You got to make sure money is tied off and you have buy-in on the why. Then from there, you're just going to go down this train. So if they say, I always make decisions this way, you already have the buy-in, money's already tied off, all the fun stuff. Then from there, we're going to go this. It's like, hey, and I can understand where you come from. Can I make a suggestion? Kind of a cheesy question, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like really unhappy and you need to make a change, and 10 being that this is your ideal lifestyle, like where are you at right now in insert problem? Okay. Now you want to customize this to the conversation you're having, right? It's like, hey, like 1 being like, you totally, hate your life and you're not making the money you want to be making. And 2 being like, hey, I'm living my ideal lifestyle. I'm really good at sales and I'm making as much money as I need to be making. Like, where are you at right now in terms of your sales skills and the money you're making? Custom. If it's like fitness, you're not going to mention money. So it's just like whatever it is you're talking about, like on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, key thing is I always say kind of a cheesy question because guess what? The 1 to 10 scale is a cheesy fucking question. And most people know that that is a sales question. So you preempt it. Okay. Hey, kind of a cheesy question, which means you just get out in front of it. If you say it's a cheesy question, it's hard for them to object to like, hey man, I know what you're doing, right? Because you said it was a cheesy question. And then from there, it's like, hey, where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay. If you've done what you should have done right, they'll say a 5 or below. Okay. And then you're going to ask them why a 5, why a 4, why a 3, why a 2, why a 1. You just need to ask them why. Now, if they say like a 6 or higher, you need to knock them down a peg. For example, let's just say I'm talking to somebody, they're making 5K per month and their goal is like 25K per month. They want to 5x their income. And I'm like, hey man, what are you on a scale of 1 to 10 right now in the money you're making? They're like, I'm a 7. Okay, so if you're a 7, what's a 10? Well, a 10 is like what I was saying, like 25K per month. It's like, okay, well, I mean, dude, if a 7's like 5K and 25K is a 10, what's a 5, dude? Like you're paying people to close for them? Like what's going on here? So just by like the numbers alone, dude, like we're a 3 or we're a 4, right? Like I'll punch them down. Like, would you agree? Okay, why would you say you're a 3? Or why would you say you're a 4? I need to punch them down so that way I get them to admit they're not where they want to be in terms of like the numbers. Okay. Because if they say like, oh, like, dude, I'm a 7, like there's not that much of a gap there. You don't have the leverage you need. So then from there, you're going to go into your next thing. Now, once you get the buy-in that they're not where they want to be on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like, okay, and do you feel like, and man, I hate the word mindset, but do you feel like mindset can shape the way we make decisions? Now, this is also, again, I soften the word mindset, especially when you're dealing with especially when you're dealing with people who are a little bit like more sophisticated, different things like that. You start talking to them about mindset, just like very straightforward. They're going to gloss over. They're going to think, you're autistic or something. So you need to soften it. Like, hey, I hate the word mindset, but do you feel like mindset can shape the way you make decisions? Obviously, they're going to say yes. And are you happy to allow the mindset that's gotten you to a 4 out of 10 in your problem area to continue to shape your results and outcomes moving forward? No, why not? Okay. Then from there, that is the reframe. Now we're going to give the binary. Okay. Hey, and I can appreciate that. And I know right now with where you're at and with what we're looking to, take 24 hours. We're looking to, not make decisions on the spot, whatever it is. You just insert whatever limitations. Hey, I understand right now with where we're at, we're looking to insert limitation, which I understand because we all make decisions based off perspective. The problem with that is if we keep making decisions based off of the perspective we have, it's going to be hard to change. So in order to change, we need to start adopting a different perspective. So if we take a look at like the 20K per month version of ourselves, how would they make the decision, right? Would they go ahead and actually like, see an opportunity to invest in themselves and just wait? Or would they dive in and they bet on themselves? Like, why? Oh, it's like they'll bet on themselves. Like, why would they bet on themselves? Okay, so we're a bit of a crossroads here. We can either keep making decisions like we've always made them and keep getting the same results, or we can make different type of decisions so we can actually get to goal. Which one would you rather do? What if you don't, though? Consequence. What happens if you keep making decisions like you always had? Are you willing to stay in that same loop? So what do we need to do? Okay. And again, if you keep pushing, that's when you get into fear, which we'll cover here in a little bit. So what am I doing here? I'm basically making a distinction between the, 4 out of 10 version and the 10 out of 10 version. It's like, hey man, I understand you have this limitation because you're a 4 out of 10, right? But if you take a look at the 10 out of 10 version of yourself, how do you think they would make decisions? Would they see an opportunity to invest in themselves and then wait? Or would they see the opportunity, know everything lines up and take action and bet on themselves? Because at the end of the day, they know that money loves speed. Like what you think they'd rather do. And again, I'm going to customize it to whoever I'm talking to. So these are, again, yes, word tracks, but the word tracks, if they're not customized, right, it's not great. So you need to make sure you're customizing to the people you're talking to. And then from there, once they take a step in your direction, why? And it's like, okay, which one would you rather do? What if you don't? Okay, what happens if you stay in the same loop? What do you need to do? Okay, so in this one, I'll be going over a role play where I go over this exact same thing, right? The decision-making process, reframe. And again, I tell them, don't give it to me and just play like a harder prospect so you can see what happens when people give you pushback as well. Because especially when you're trying to address somebody's limiting beliefs and you're addressing the way that they make decisions, you can get pushback and you will get pushback. But anytime you do get pushback, all you need to do is you need to double down and have a good reason for it.
Just need to give it some time, go over everything in my head.
Yeah, not an issue, man. Just to see if I can, best help. I guess like what do you feel like you need to go over in your mind, maybe over the next day or two, just so I can send over the most relevant information to you.
I just need to go over kind of everything we talked about just now because we talked for like almost an hour and just a lot
Yeah.
in it.
Fair enough, dude. I guess like what's the main things that you're going to be focusing on? Because everyone focuses on different things.
Just going over the value, everything that we talked about, just
Okay.
the systems and
Yeah.
just making sure that I just redo everything in my mind and make sure
Okay.
that I didn't forget anything that we talked about half an hour ago.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But like as far as like the systems and everything that we did lay out, do you feel like with what we covered, we can actually get you from the point of like where you're at like 15,000 per month to like that 50,000 per month that we're looking to?
Yeah, no, everything makes sense for sure.
Okay. Like why do you feel like we'd be able to actually do that for you though?
Just like what you talked about
Mm.
in like the process and everything of actually like getting more
Yeah.
leads and just being able to
Okay.
exercise that. Yeah.
Okay. So if it all makes sense, we feel like it actually get us like the outcome. Again, look, I'm on your team, right? So just between me and
Yeah.
you, um, like what's actually holding us back?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it all makes sense, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I kind of need some more time just because I just need some more time to go over everything in my head because it's a long call. So,
Yeah. No, I get it. But when you say like more time, is there anything specifically that you'll actually be like going over, or is it just like this is how you make decisions?
I'm just gonna rewatch the recording. So if you could just send me the recording, I'm gonna rewatch this and just go over everything again. And
Yeah.
just make sure like everything is fully understood and that like because at the end
Okay.
of the day we had a long conversation. I might have forgotten
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate we had a long conversation, but it's like it seems like, the big reason why we're here is because like we want to really cut down on the time we have to spend. So if I send you over this long conversation, right, that does take a lot of time. So just maybe so I can be a little bit more pointed with the information I give
Yeah.
you. Like is there something specific you want to go over again, or is it something like this is how you make decisions, you want to take time?
It's mostly something that I want to go over again. I wish I could tell you exactly. But the thing is that
Okay.
we just had a long conversation, and so I
Yeah.
have this habit of sometimes like forgetting something that previously in the
Okay.
conversation. I don't want to have any of those holes. I'm not sure where it is, but if you could just send me
Uh-huh.
the call, it's totally worth my time to just go over that because this is a
Yeah.
big decision for me, and
Okay.
I
No,
just
no,
need to
no
do that.
issue. I guess if you just took aside, like, let's say you go through the call and like it's basically, it reminds you the exact same things that we went over today. Um, like, what is this something you just go ahead and do?
Yeah.
Why would you do it though?
because like we talked about, everything
Yeah.
makes sense, and
Yeah.
everything, the value really makes sense. I just want
Okay.
to
But
still just go over it again.
why actually invest in yourself so you can actually get to a point where it's like you can, double and triple the business?
So I can double and triple the business.
Yeah, but again, like why for you though? Because everyone's different.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, this
Mhm.
is really important for me. I mean, this
Okay.
business matters a lot for me. I need more leads, and I'm
Okay.
really committed to growing.
Yeah, and I can appreciate you being committed. And in terms of like getting you there, like does that investment like actually work for you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so it's like you go through the call, like it actually works when you budget your strength, the investment, and like we could just get started, after you go over the
Right. No,
call.
yeah, the money is fine. I mean, it totally makes sense. It's not about the money.
Okay. Yeah, no issue, man. Can I share a perspective on that?
Yeah.
Now it's a bit of a cheesy question, but on a scale of like 1 to 10, like 1 being like, dude, you're super unhappy in the business, like you just want to give it to somebody else, and 10 being like, hey, this is your ideal lifestyle. I guess like where are you at right now in terms of like the business?
I would say it's around a 3. I mean, if it was at a 9, I wouldn't be on
Yeah,
this call, right?
fair enough. But why would you say a 3?
Just because I'm not at where I'm at yet. Like I've come a long
Yeah,
way, but I've just there's so
yeah,
much more to grow.
yeah. And it's a deal. I can appreciate like you admitting that we're at a 3. And do you feel like, and I hate the word mindset, but do you feel like maybe mindset actually shapes the way we make decisions?
What kind of mean?
Well, do you feel like our mindset, like how we view things, like actually shapes the way we make decisions and actually dictates the results that we get?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, mindset is comes into play like everywhere.
Yeah. And I guess, are you happy with that mindset and decision making process that got us to a 3 out of 10, like in the business and the money we're making to, I guess, like really dictate our results, like moving forward?
Any particular reason why you asked that?
Well, I'm just trying to understand, man. Like, do you want the mentality and the mindset that we have been using to dictate our results moving forward if it's got us to a 3 out of 10?
Um, I mean, I don't think it's such like a black and white question. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like you're kind of putting it like black and white. I think it's more complicated than that.
Yeah, and again, we can try to make things more complicated, but it's like oftentimes if we change our decisions and we change our mentality, you feel like we're going to get different results.
Right, for sure. But it
Well,
mostly comes down to just everything.
why would you agree with that?
Um, how would I agree? Well, I mean, mentality matters. I mean, I understand
Yeah.
that mentality matters. So,
Why would you say it matters though?
um, okay. Well, my mentality could be better for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
And
my mentality could be
dude,
better.
like kudos for you for actually like being able to admit that.
Yeah,
Like you'd be surprised. Like a lot of people, like they're not even able to like admit that to themselves.
right.
So it just comes down to like if we know our mentality could be better, do we want to allow our mentality that's got us to a 3 out of 10 to continue to dictate the results like we have like moving forward?
Um, well, no, but the mentality
Well, why
is
not
one
though?
part of the piece.
Yeah. And
Like
again,
I
we could
said,
talk about the other pieces, but like why don't you want the same mentality to dictate your results moving forward?
because mentality is one piece of the puzzle that could be improved. It's not. I don't want to say it's the
Yeah.
most important thing that's holding me
And
back,
then
but it's
again,
one piece of the
we can
puzzle.
talk about the other pieces, and I can appreciate where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
why do you want the mentality to not continue to dictate your results moving forward? Because you could, and we can continue to get the same results.
Well, I'm someone who's trying to make progress, and I want to work on like every area of my
Yeah,
business, and anything can be
100%,
improved.
dude.
I want to
Yeah,
improve it.
absolutely. And I can appreciate like right now with where we're at, as far as like,
Yeah.
I just want to take time, just go over it again, like wait 24 hours, whatever it is. I can appreciate right now, like that's what we're wanting to do, which makes sense because we're at $15,000 per month, right? And we all make decisions based off perspective. The
Right.
problem with that is if we keep making decisions based off the perspective we have, it's going to be hard to change. In order to actually get to where we want to be, we have to start making decisions of the person who we want to be. We have to operate at a different level. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So it just comes down to if we look at Yoav, who's making 50,000 per month, right? And he knew, pretty much without a doubt, like this thing will really grow his business. And again, he's limited on time, he's limited on resources. Would he
Yeah.
take 24 hours? Would he take more time to really like dig into it, or would he actually take action on his business and make sure he grows?
I think I would take the time when it's a big decision, because when a decision
Mhm.
matters and it could end up spending like months or years of my life on like this system, then I think just an extra 24 hours is just a drop in the bucket. So I think
Yeah.
I would keep that mentality.
Yeah, but what if it wasn't what you thought it was?
How do you mean?
Because it really comes down to, and this might be part of the issue, if I can be a little bit
Yeah.
straightforward, is if right now we don't feel like 24 hours is a big deal,
Yeah.
that might be part of the problem. Because like there's
What do you
always
mean?
gonna be that person who is a day late, a week late, like a month late.
Right.
But does money love people who wait, or does money love people who take action?
Money lets people who take action on the right things.
Well, why would you say like money loves people who take action?
Because no, you can't wait forever on anything.
Yeah, well, it's like, let's not even talk about like forever. If we see like a golden goose opportunity and somebody takes action on it right away versus somebody who waits 24 hours, like who gets the outsized returns?
I wouldn't say it's a big difference because it's a golden goose. As long as the golden goose opportunity doesn't like disappear in the next day, as long as it's not like one of those like
Yeah.
one-off things.
And
If it
I can
just,
appreciate like right now we think that way. But if there is a
yeah,
golden goose opportunity, and again, like we have a short period of time to actually capitalize on it, like who actually gets the outsized returns? Somebody who actually takes the opportunity on themselves to actually go
oh
for
yeah,
it,
if
the
there's a
one
short
person who waits.
opportunity window, then of course you need to take that short opportunity window.
Just with anything, right?
Right.
So it just comes down to, do we want to be the person who, when we see the opportunity to actually grow our business, like we do, we take the time, we push things off, or do we want to be the person when we see an opportunity, we actually take it?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but you're comparing things that
I'm
aren't
not
quite the
saying
same.
anything, right? Like I'm just trying to understand. Like it really comes down to, like, we know the program works, like we both agree with that. Like right now, all
Yeah.
we're deciding on is the type of person who we want to be, right? Which is a tough decision to make, and I'm not going to take that away from you. But right now, if we're looking at it, what decision do we need to make? What person do we want to be? Do we want to be the person who sees an opportunity, they actually, take it, or do we want to continue to be the person who sees an opportunity and tells themselves it's okay to wait 24 hours? Because you can be either.
I mean, again, this isn't about, there isn't a small window of opportunity. I mean, this is something that I want to make the right decision on, and this is something that's important to me. And if I'm
Yeah,
going to spend months on this, it's not,
yeah,
one day is a drop in the bucket.
yeah, and again, I can appreciate like where you're coming from, you thinking that way. But that, again, like that's part of the reason why we're here. You know what I mean? And to be pretty straightforward, like that's part of the reason we're a 3 out of 10. So
Right. Obviously, yeah.
I do have to ask again, if we continue to think this way, that got us to a point where we're 3 out of 10, and we continue to make decisions like we've always made decisions. How are we going to expect anything to change?
Nothing's going to change. But if I made
Well,
a decision a year
why
ago, that makes a
wouldn't
big difference. But
yeah, well, if you made this decision a year ago, man, we wouldn't be having this conversation,
right. So
right? So it's like,
that's the point. Yeah.
when was the best time to make this decision?
I mean, if I made this decision a year ago, that would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah. A year ago is probably the best one. The next best time would be today.
Yeah.
When do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
Why would you agree with that?
Because I mean, if everything lines up, then the best decision is now. The reason I need 24 hours is just to double check
Yeah.
everything. But I totally
Yeah.
agree with what
And
you're saying
again,
on
like,
that front.
and we can always like double check ourselves like into oblivion,
Yeah.
right? Like, why not triple check? Why not quadruple check?
Um, that's a good question. Well, what I'm doing is I'm checking. This isn't about my mindset. I'm checking like everything you said in this call. So I'm just going over what you said.
Yeah, but in terms, like, I can appreciate like you want to go over everything that we said, but do you feel like what we covered, like, what would actually get you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
it
like
does.
when you're going into a plane, man, like, do you go into the cockpit and just like ask them what all the buttons do, or do you get in your seat, buckle up, and just trust that they're going to get you there? Because they've gotten thousands of people there before,
Oh, that's different.
right? You probably buckle in your seatbelt. You know what I mean? So it's like, again,
Yeah.
like we know this works, right? Like what we need from you is to come in and buckle in your seatbelt.
And I'm totally buckled. Again, I just want to go over everything you said because it
Yeah.
works. So that's why I want to go over your words again because
Yeah.
No one
And
can be
again, like going over the words again, like what really changes? Like you going over them again.
just to make sure, like maybe I'm just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because at the end of the day, I'm like caught in the
Uh,
moment, and it's easy to forget things.
yeah. And again, like you can forget things, but even if you go over it again or you don't go over it again, is that actually going to dictate like the actual program and what we do over here? Does anything actually
I don't
change?
know. Well, what if I forgot something important that happened earlier in the call, and then make a decision now, and
Mhm.
then I remember later something, or and then I don't want to make one of those rash decisions, and then
Yeah.
realize something
Well,
like
if it
it's too
comes
late.
down to, man, like what is a rash decision in your mind?
I think a rash decision is just making a decision in the moment under the
Yeah.
pressure without like taking it
Yeah.
extra
And
time.
again, like when we're talking about pressure, like there's no pressure on my end, right? I should say it. But it's like the pressure isn't really from me over here. It just comes down to it's probably more of an internal thing. And why I say that is because if we know we needed to make a decision a year ago and we haven't, how at any point, like making a decision today, how is that a rash decision if this has been a year building up?
No, it's not a rash decision when you put it in
Well,
that
why
frame, but
why
when you
would you
put it in
say
the
it's
frame,
not a rash decision though?
because I've been wanting to grow for a while.
Yeah, and so it just really comes down to, man, like I can understand like taking that step and actually like investing in yourself. Like I don't want to say it's like scary, but it's kind of scary in a way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
But the feeling you're feeling right now, dude, like it's exactly what you're supposed to feel because you just never made the decision before. Because
Yeah,
if you're over there like cool as a cucumber, like dude, I'd have to check your pulse. Because who do
right.
you know that grows inside your comfort zone?
No,
Right. So it's like you being a bit uncomfortable, that means we're on to something important. That means we're getting outside of our comfort zone. That means we're becoming a different person. And when you agree, that's something we need right now.
yeah, you're really good at this process. Do you like have this memorized, or like feels like you're just
Well,
really like on
hey,
point?
hey man, if I wasn't good at helping people, I want to be able to help you. You know what I mean? So it just comes down to like, wouldn't you agree that it's like us moving outside of our comfort zone is a good thing?
Um, yeah, I mean, I need to move out of my
Why,
comfort zone, for
like,
sure.
why would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, I get that moving out of my comfort zone. Everyone grows outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like, I
So
get
it's like
that.
right now, like this feeling you're feeling of like, okay, wanting to take time. It's a little bit scary. Like, dude, this feeling's not gonna go away. All we get to do is we just get to decide on what we actually do with this feeling. Because we have two options. Like number one, we can allow it to constrict us. We can keep telling ourselves, hey, we need to double, triple, quadruple check, and then really do that into oblivion and prevent ourselves from moving forward. Or the second option is we shape that feeling and we take massive action and we actually make it work. Like, which one would you rather do?
I'd rather be the person who shapes and takes massive action.
Why though?
Well, I mean, I'm not. I don't want to let feelings constrict me. Because
What
those
if
are
you do
internal
though?
things.
What if you
Well,
allow
then,
feelings to constrict you? Because you could.
I'm going to be held back by my own self instead of
Yeah.
by the external.
Yeah. So then it just comes down to you got to decide like what feelings you're going to feel right now. Right. Okay. Are you going to help yourself overcome those feelings of being uncomfortable? Or are you going to feel the feelings of tomorrow, you waking up and you look in the mirror knowing you needed to make a change and you didn't? Which one would you rather
I'm
have?
ready to make a change.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the next one that I'll go over in much more quicker detail is basically a variation of I always make decisions this way. Sometimes you'll get people that just say, hey, I just need 24 hours. Now, this one, again, you can handle it this other way of like, hey, I always make decisions this way. Or you can handle it this way, which is it's a much straightforward version of handling the objection. Hey, and they're like, hey, like you cross everything off. You're like, hey, like what do you need to go over in your head over the next 24 hours? Like, I just never make decisions on the spot. It's like, okay, well, if you feel the exact same way you feel right now tomorrow, like, would you go ahead and you do it? Yes. Why actually invest in yourself? Why do this? Right? Does the investment actually work for you? So you tie off everything. So you do all this stuff that we're talking about here. And then when you get the, hey, I just need 24 hours, then we go, it's like, hey, man, and you could definitely take a day. And at the end of the day, my best intention is to help. Can I explain to you why that might not be the best option for you without you getting upset at me? So again, I'm asking for permission to go ahead and tell them why they might not be making the best decision for themselves. So we're looking to make a big change, right? And when we're looking to make a big change, what's the best time to actually change if we're truly committed to something? You need to get them to admit the best time to change is now. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do that. Now, most of the time, they're just going to give it to you right away. But if they don't give it to you right away, what you can do is like, okay, well help me understand, dude. Because if somebody needs to lose weight and it's December 1st, should they wait till New Year, New Me, January, or should they just start trying to lose weight like right now? Why should they try to start losing weight right now? Okay. So it's another way you can do it. You just need to get them to admit that right now is the best time to change. Okay. And then from there, it's like, okay. And it's like, when's the best time to change if you're truly committed? Oh, right now. And then you're going to be like, hey, man, it was probably 6 months ago. Next best time is now. Would you agree? Why would you agree? Get them to defend it. And I want to help and make sure you get the best results. And when it comes down to making a change, if we are that person who is the new year, new me, it's December and they decide like, hey, I need to lose weight, but they wait until January 1st. How long do those people go to the gym and stick to their plans? Okay. Get them to admit they don't stay long because they're not committed. Now, sometimes people say like, oh, I don't know how long people do. Well, hey, man, would you be surprised if I told you that it's 2 weeks on the long side? Why do you think that is? Like people who are new year, new me, they know they need to lose weight, but they wait until January 1st. Why do you think it's only 2 weeks? Okay. And they're like, oh, because they're not truly committed, blah, 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 blah. Right? Get it out of them. So now that you tied off, like, hey, you need to make the decision now. But the next belief that we really need to cross is, well, dude, like, I'm just asking for 24 hours. I'm not asking for a month, right? We need to also address that belief. So the next thing that we're going to say is like, hey, and if we are that person, like today is Friday, and we tell ourselves we're going to start our diet on Monday, even if we're fully committed and we actually are going to start our diet on Monday, most don't, but let's say we are. We're the exception to the rule. We made the decision on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Would we be walking towards our goals or walking away from our goals? Because there is no staying still in life. Exactly, they're walking away. And you definitely could take a day, walk away from your goals for a day. But the thing is, we know how we do one thing is how we do everything. And like, I want the best for you and I want you to actually get results. So if you tell yourself it's okay just to walk away from your goals, especially if I want the best for you. Now you can pick either a more direct or less direct. I'm generally going to be more direct. Okay. Why would I let you in if I truly care about you and want you to get the best results if you're going to walk away from your goals? So what happens if we keep telling ourselves it's okay to walk away from our goals? Consequence, what do we need to do? Okay. And then here is a quick role play going over that specific scenario.
Give me till tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And so,
And again, you definitely could. And at the end of the day, like my best intention is to help. And so like if you really want to, like there's an X up in the corner, like you can definitely leave this call and we can see if we can't have a chat tomorrow. Can I maybe like explain to you why that might not be the best option without you getting upset at me?
no, man, please.
Because just because it sounds like we're really looking for a big change, right?
Yeah.
And it just comes down to if we're looking to make a change, when is the best time to make a change? If we're truly committed.
I mean, as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's probably 6 months ago, right? But the next best time is today. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can see that, man. Yeah.
Well, like do you actually agree though?
I mean, yeah, like I mean,
You seem unsure.
I think. Listen, Christian, like
and again, my best intention is just to help you the best way that I can. Because like when it comes to making a change, and again, I want you to get the best results. If we're that person who's like new year, new me, right? It's December time and we decide, hey, we're going to lose weight, but we're going to start January 1st. Be that new year, new me crowd. How long do those people actually go to the gym and stick to their plans?
Man, I think they like get washed out in like a month or two, right?
A couple of weeks if we're lucky, right?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that is?
Man, they're just not committed.
Yeah. And then it just comes down to like, even if we're that person who, today's Friday, we're starting a diet next Monday, like how likely is it that they're going to actually start that diet on Monday?
Not likely.
Why not?
Wait, maybe I missed that question.
Yeah, well, if we're that person who's like, oh, they're gonna start their diet, like next Monday I start my diet.
Yeah. Yeah.
How likely is it that they actually start that diet on Monday?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're committed, like they'll just
Yeah.
start.
Well, even like most of them like they don't, right? Because again,
Yeah.
it comes down to commitment. But even if they are 100% committed and they actually do start that diet on Monday,
Yeah.
it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Are they walking towards their goals or are they walking away from them?
They're walking away from.
Yeah. So it just comes down to you definitely could take another day, another week, another month,
Mm.
another year. But in that
Mm.
time, you'd be walking away from your goals.
Mm.
And if I truly care about
Yeah.
you and I truly want the best results for you, even if you do take to tomorrow and you do
Mm.
want to dive in, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if
Yeah.
you tell yourself it's okay to walk away from your goals, why would I let you in the program if I truly care about you and want you to get the best results if you want to start tomorrow?
That makes sense, man. Thanks for caring for me, Christian. All right, man. I can see how, like, let me just grab my card and we're in.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
no, man, that's solid.
so it's like if I truly care about you, why would I let
Mm.
you in thinking this way?
Yeah.
You're not going to get the results that you actually want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could probably like maybe jump a couple steps or whatever it is, right? Depending on like the level of rapport you have with that person, if you feel like you have
Yeah.
a bit more authority. But it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, if you're really committed, like when do you start something?
Mm.
And if you
Yeah.
genuinely are committed and you're saying you're going to start it tomorrow, like are you walking away from your goals or walking towards it like during that time from now till tomorrow? What are you doing? There's no staying still in life.
Dude,
It's
this
like,
is
well,
good,
I'm walking
man.
away. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, it's like if you're walking away, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mm.
So if you tell yourself it's okay to walk towards your goals if you're truly committed, why would I let you in if I truly care about you getting your results?
Mm.
It's like
Yeah.
it's not compatible.
Yeah, man. That's good, man. That's like
Yeah.
I can tell you've been in the trenches, Christian. You've freaking this thing out 100 times, man.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing we're going to cover is going to be fear objections. So after we go ahead and we deal with the money or the partner, I always make decisions this way. I need 24 hours. And for whatever reason, they're still not making the decision. The next thing we need to address is fear. So all fear is just basically a belief or uncertainty. There's something holding them back that is not like logistical or anything. Like they're a bit scared to make the decision and they just need a little bit of a helpful hand. Like that's basically what it is. Okay. Now, if you do fear objections and these frames correctly, like really you only need one, maybe two fear reframes. And I'll go over two at least in depth. I'll probably give you a little bit more, right? Give you a little bit of extra heat. So if you do these fear objections right, you don't need a ton of reframes. That's what most people think about like overcoming fear. It's just about more and more fear reframes. No, it's about how do you actually get people to buy into the reframes that you're actually using? How do you actually get it to the point where they can actually take in what you're saying by pattern interrupting and getting them to let their guard down? That's what we need to focus on when it comes to overcoming fear objections. So the very first frame that we'll go over is going to be the ABCs of fear. Okay. So what that is, it's admit that they are fearful, befriend the fear, and then convert the meaning of fear. So when we are handling fear, the things we need to do is we need to listen to language. What are they actually saying? Understand the belief. What is the actual belief I'm addressing? And we need to customize the frames. Okay. Now that is true of all this shit up here too, but it's most true and most important when it comes to fear, because this is where you get paid. If you can overcome fear objections at a high level, you're going to make more than everyone else. Okay. So very first thing, we're talking about the ABCs of fear. We need to get them to admit that they are fearful. Now, a real easy breezy way to bridge into fear is saying it like this. And this is how I'll say it most of the time. And I get it. Taking that leap. I don't want to use the word scary, but it's kind of scary in a way, right? Like, I don't want to say the word, but this word, right? Like the second part of that is quick, but I'm also making it softer by saying, hey, I don't want to say the word scary. So the tone on that is really key. It makes it very easy for them to say yes and actually buy into the frame. The reason why I say it that way, because if you just say, oh, it seems like there's a bit of nerves, or it seems like we're a bit scared, or it just seems like we're a bit nervous. The problem is that will work on some people. But I do not want you handling objections that just work on some people. You need to be able, especially if you want to close at a high percentage, to be able to do things that is going to work on an overwhelming majority of the people you're talking to. So I'm going to teach you what's going to work 90% of the time, not what's going to work 30 to 40% of the time. Okay? That is a key distinction. So this will get the people who would have said yes to, oh yeah, it is nerves. They're going to say yes to this too. But also the people that say, oh no, it's not nerves, right? I'm going to get those people if I say it this way too. So I need to get everyone to buy in, not just a small subsect of people. Okay. And then after I get this buy-in, that's when we're going to befriend it. Hey, and I get what you're feeling because like I've been there, and what you're feeling right now, like it's exactly what you're supposed to feel, because who grows in your comfort zone? So that feeling you're feeling right now means that you're growing, because like if you're sitting there over there like cool as a cucumber, like dude, I have to check your pulse. You know what I mean? Right? Crack a joke. They always laugh. So what I'm doing there is like, hey man, who grows inside their comfort zone? So what you're feeling right now, this is what you're supposed to feel, right? Because if you're cool right now, it means like we're not talking about something important. I'm befriending the fear. Like what they're feeling right now, this is what they're supposed to feel. Because when we're talking about fear objections, you're not going to be able to get them to get rid of an emotion. You just need to help them cope with the emotion better. So that's what you're doing here. You're saying, hey, this is a good thing. So then from there, we're going to convert the meaning of the objection. We're going to convert the meaning of fear. So it's like, hey, that feeling you're feeling right now, like it's not going to go away. So all we get to do is we get to decide how we use it, because we have two options. Number one, we allow it to constrict us and we don't get to goal. Or number two, we shape it, and we shape it into taking massive action because we put some skin in the game. Now it has to work. So which one would you rather do? Allow it to constrict you or allow that feeling to shape you into taking massive action? Why though? Okay, they should always say, take that feeling, they should always say, I want it to shape it to take massive action. And then you're going to ask why. Now, you need to ask why and not let them waffle. Because what can happen a lot of times is like, yeah, I wanted to shape it into taking massive action, but a bunch of bullshit, right? You don't allow them to get to the but. You interject and you ask why. Well, why though? You like, again, what they choose to talk about is what they're choosing to think about. So if I control what they talk about, I control what they think about. So if I cut them off before they start talking about their objections and trying to reaffirm their objection and get them to double down on the fact that they need to do it, then that's what they're going to be thinking. So that is persuasion in its finest, okay? So I'm going to cut them off before they get to their butt, okay? Now, if you are able to cut them off before they get to their butt, all you're going to do is just ignore the butt and then still ask the question anyways, okay? Why would you do it to take massive action, okay? Why would you want to shape it? Just get them to double down, get them to focus on the why. And again, make sure this is custom. You shouldn't be like, hey, like we have two options. We can allow it to constrict us and we don't get to goal. We don't get to 10K per month. If things get worse, again, that's generic. It depends on like the conversation that you've been having. So it's like, hey man, like we have two options. We can allow that to constrict us and we just stay stagnant and we never make any more money like in our sales career, and we just continue to be the person we have been. Or number two is we can shape that and we can shape it into take a massive action. Like, yeah, it's scary, but we put some skin in the game and we have to step into being that 20K per month person. Which one would you rather do? Again, I'm talking to them about the conversation I had. Customize it. So why though? Then from there, after you get the reframe, the binary, why, consequence, right? It's the same type of frame, okay? What if you allow it to constrict you though? Okay, are you going to allow that to happen? So what do you need to do to make sure that doesn't happen and we can get to goal, right? Ask for the sale again. Now, generally speaking, this is all that you'll need majority of the time if you do this right and you get good buy-in, okay? So what I'm going to be sharing now is an actual real life sales call that I did, I believe in 2022 or 2023. And I've definitely, honed in and made it more polished since then. But I wanted to give you a real life sales call where I use this frame. So hopefully this is helpful. And I would say the biggest thing to also pay attention is how I go ahead and I don't let them off the hook and I allow silence. Like silence is a big, big, big key that you can use. And it can be your friend if you use it correctly. So go ahead, check it out.
Oof, that's a lot more than I thought it was gonna be.
Hmm.
I don't know how could we proceed here? How does this work exactly?
Yeah. So it's like, as far as like the investment, right? Is that something that like you have available to you currently?
It is something that I have available. It just seems like it's a lot compared to what I have.
Uh-huh. Well, when you say like a lot and compared to what you have, like how do you mean?
So I would say that's like I think I have about $45,000,
Mhm.
and that just seems like a big, a good chunk.
Yeah. No, I get it, right? But is it a lot compared to your goals?
No, it's not a lot compared to my goals, and I
Yeah.
would definitely be spending that this year.
Hmm. Right. So it just comes down to it. Like, and I get like taking that leap, like, bro, I've been in your seat. Like, I get it. Like, it's like making that decisions, like, it's always like tough. Because I don't want to say like there's like fear, but like fear in a way. You know what I mean?
Hey, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Oh, I think it cut out. You said fear in a way.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like making that decision to like, okay, really bet on yourself. Like there's a little bit of like fear there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But can I make a suggestion around that? Because like genuinely, like I care.
Okay.
Because like fear can either be two things, right? It can constrict us. It can make it to where we don't do the things that we know we need to do. And then we stay in the same spot. So option two is we can use it. And when I say we can use it is like we can shape it into like we put some skin in the game. Now this has to fucking work. Right? Because bro, if you weren't scared, I'd have to check your pulse a little bit. Right? Because like if it didn't come up, like oof, right? That means we're not hitting the right nerve. You know what I mean? So it's like, would you be open to using that, focusing that energy to getting it to 20K as quick as possible?
Yeah, I guess I would
Okay,
definitely
but
have.
like, yeah, but what if you don't though? Like, what if you allow it to freeze and constrict you?
That would suck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it happening. Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit scary, but I've
Mhm.
never really been the type to like I've taken setbacks before, and I
Mhm.
don't consider this a setback, but
Yeah.
it's definitely more of an investment. I would just have
Yeah.
to utilize 100% of it.
Absolutely, man. Right. But like, if you're not going to bet on yourself, like, who else is?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So what do you want to do from here?
Well, I definitely want to get better.
Yeah. I get it. It's tough. Right. But like if you're sitting across from other people, like we were talking about before with that congruence, if they give you that think about it objection, all right, they're a little scared. How are you going to sit across from them and help them overcome it? Like if we can't overcome that own objection in our own head, like right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How you feeling, man?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on in my head, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Now you know what your prospects are going through,
yeah,
right? And like the training, like it's going to get you like 50, 70% there. The rest that's going to get you there is like you being able to feel this right now. So when they're feeling it, you can have the same conversation that we're having right now. Because I've been there and then you have been there.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
a
like that's
lot.
something you can't fake.
100%. I immediately feel for my prospects
Yeah.
when I can instantly think to situations where it's like
Right.
this moment right here.
Get
And
it, man. Because like the reason I'm able to connect and like have this conversation is because like one, genuinely I care, but two, like I've been there. Right. So it's like my first 6 months in sales, pretty much the same as you, dude. Like I was on top of the world first couple months, and then the sales dried up like that, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So it's like I had months where I was hitting 15, and then I had months I was making 3,000. But I was living my life like I was making 8 consistently. So
yeah,
I got in trouble pretty quickly. Right. So it's like, and I get like taking that leap, like it's tough. I'll tell you right now, you come in, you put in the work, you're going to get there.
yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I mean,
100%, bro. Like you have the work ethic, dude. We just need to know, like you just need to know like what to do. Right. And then once you have that in place, like with the work ethic you have, I think anything less than 50,000 per month is cutting yourself short. And I'll be real about that. And I'll say that to, actually, I think that's the first time I've ever told anybody that. Right. So it's like the work ethic's there. Like that's not the issue. It's just coming about putting in the work and like knowing what to actually do.
right.
So how would you like to proceed from here, man?
How do we proceed?
Yeah. So we just take the investment and then get you set up with an onboarding.
So after you do one for your reframe, let's say for whatever reason you didn't do it right, you didn't say it the way I said it because you're not as smooth talking as me, right? Or there's a tougher prospect, shit happens. I'm not saying everyone closes after one reframe. Then from there, the next reframe I'll generally go into is going to be like the bitch voice versus boss voice. Right? Actually, this is a third one I'll go into, right? We don't need to talk about the second one. Let's talk about the third one because I have a clip of me using the third one. I don't know if I have an actual real life sales call of me using the second one. At least I don't have the clip, right? I didn't save all my sales calls. I wish, bro. Okay. So if they still don't move forward, what you need to be doing, again, it needs to be customized to them, number one. But number two, when we are continuously handling fear and we're going into another fear reframe, our intensity is going to increase and we're going to be more straightforward. There should be more daddy's home energy. Okay. If you are handling objections the same way, just super calm, collected, and we're not being straightforward and we're not raising our intensity, okay, we're not going to be able to break them out of their pattern. Because understand, that's why people do not actually break out of their pattern and overcome these objections, because people are in patterns, right? They're in autopilot mode, and we haven't been able to actually get them to address what we're saying. So we need to get them out of autopilot mode, actually get them to contend what we're saying. And how we do that is being able to be more straightforward, raising our intensity to have a better conversation. Okay. So this one I'll say is the bitch voice versus boss voice reframe. This is a talking point I got from it's a Daniel, it's a guy who's like he's like the supplement guy. He talks about like bitch voice, boss voice, like motivational dude, right? I really like that frame. So it's like I started using it on sales calls for years. Okay. So it goes like this. Hey, and becoming that person who we need to be is tough because our old self is holding on for dear life, right? So I get it, man. And I know for me, when I come up to a big decision like this, I always have two voices in my head. One is telling me to jump in, the other one is telling me to wait. You know what I mean? Now, the reason why I'm always going to go this way, and I'm going to talk about the two voices in your head, because if I get someone to admit that there are two voices in their head, then I'm getting them to disassociate with the fear. It's not them, it's a voice in their head. Okay. And there's another voice in their head that is saying something different, right? So I'm getting them to disassociate. What a lot of times, especially, you can do this with yourself too. A lot of times, especially with fear or whatever it is, people associate too much with the voices in their head, so they have a lot of power over them. So, for example, let's say you have a limiting belief or you have problems procrastinating or shit like that, whatever it is, whatever shit's holding you back. If you start to disassociate with that voice that causes you to do that or tells you to do that, and you actually start seeing it for what it is, like a bitch voice, you have a better way to actually address it, right? Because like it's not so personal anymore, right? So this is what I do on the actual call. Now, once I do that, I get the buy-in. I'm like, hey man, it's interesting and it's totally normal. And like, I call it like the bitch voice is a boss voice. The bitch voice is always telling you like, hey, I can't do it. I need to wait.
The boss voice, on the other hand, is saying, you need to take action. You need to bet on yourself. You need to stop waning and be the person you know you should be. Now, what am I doing there? I'm giving a distinction between the two voices, and I'm also using embedded commands, right? I'm being very direct, like, hey, you need to take action. You need to do this. You need to do that. You. But I'm using it in a quote, so it's not directly attacking them, but I am directly attacking them. I'm directly telling them what they need to do. Okay, that's what an embedded command it is. If you need me to go in more detail, I definitely will, but just simple terms. Okay, and those voices will never go away. And the beauty of the curse of it is whatever voice you listen to, like, gets louder. And for most people, they listen to their bitch voice so much that they can't even hear their boss voice. But you're here on this call, so I can tell you, you still have your boss voice, right? And they're always going to say yes. So right now, I know it's a tough decision, but which voice do you want to make louder? The bitch voice or the boss voice? Why? They're always going to say the boss voice. Then from there, again, I've separated two voices. I'm going to get them to, again, what they talk about, what they think about. So let me talk to the boss voice right now. What is it saying? Why is it saying that? But what happens if we listen to the bitch voice and the boss voice keeps getting quieter and quieter and you stay in this current situation for the rest of your life? What happens then? Do you want to allow that to happen? So what do we need to do? So when you go to bed tonight, you're doing everything in your power possible to actually change your life, and I'm much more direct at this point. Okay? So that's the frame as a whole. Now, again, I've definitely refined this frame over the years, but what I'm going to show you is a call from a few years back. And this is a call with somebody who's already making good money. I think they're making like over 500K per year, and they're wanting to make $1 million plus. So what people would call like a high level prospect. And I use this frame, and because I've tied him up in so many knots in discovery, this frame landed, and he knew he couldn't go anywhere, and then he just went ahead and moved forward. Now, again, I've definitely refined it since then, but I want you to still hear the frame, hear the tone, and hear how I use it on an actual sales call.
Might need some time to think about it because it grants a little steeper than I thought what this was going to be. So, and I love like, hey, you guys have a price, you guys have team support and everything, so it is what it is. But yeah, it was a little higher than I thought. But give me a day on it to think about it.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I'm also in sales, so it's like I don't like maybe. So give me by tomorrow 10:30. I'll shoot you a message, let you know we move forward.
Yeah, no worries, man. And when you say like it's more than what you thought, I guess like what are you comparing that to?
Just kind of like some of the I'm thinking more about just some of the other coachings that I've had so far, like kind of thing. So it's like, okay, it's like, because this stuff's great, right? But it's like some of these things I feel like I do have down, right? So it's so that's why I'm like, okay, like, hey, I just need the help at the top of the funnel. Like the rest I could, like, don't get me wrong, if I can improve that, it's also great. But at the same time though, that I was just more focused on that part. So that's why.
Yeah, no worries, man. Right. Cause like when we're talking about like getting help like with the top and things like that, and like we definitely do help like very in depth as far as like the cold calling process and things too. But in terms of, with what you've done like in the past, it just comes down to, for you, like, do you feel like it would be worth, right, like you getting like that cold calling process down, and like if you get one extra deal in the next year from it, like it more than pays for itself?
That, I mean, yeah, that's the how I'm thinking about it too. But yeah, it's just like, like just want to make sure, because here's the thing. The minute I tell my girl that, I'm like, hey, I'm going to pay that, she's like, all right, hey, you've already spent a couple of their grand on some of these other things. Like, let's talk through it. So, and it's just what it is. It's like, it's not even about her. It's just about me. Just like, I just don't want to make an impulse buy. Right.
Oh,
like,
100%, man.
That's the main reason. So it's just like, just to sit on it. But look, so far you like it. So it's like, I mean,
100%. Right. And,
points on
and I know, and can I share a perspective? Yeah, because I know you said like one of the big things that you wanted to work on as well, some of like the objections like at the end, right? So typically, like how often do you get somebody who's like, oh, I mean, this sounds great, things like that. They just want to think about it and then like, kind of like push it off for a day or something like that?
Not too often. What I get more, it's like, oh, hey, like I'll do this part of the plan, this part of the recommendation. And then the other part, like, oh yeah, I just don't want to do that. But no, actually, you know what? Like I'll say probably like once or twice a week, I'll get somebody like, oh yeah, I want to sit on it. Right.
Okay. So like once or twice a week. Right. And of those 1 to 2 per week, like how many will then come back and actually close?
Of those, so far from what I've seen, so it's a good question because I do have a stat on that. 25%.
Okay, so 25%. So if it's like 1 to 2 per week, let's just say like 5 or 6 a month,
Yeah.
right? It's like 25%. So we'll get like 1 to 2 to come back.
Yeah. No.
So let's just say like on the low end, like we're losing 4 deals like a month, right? And what is a deal worth to you again?
Yeah, around depends, but around like 10K ish, 8K somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, let's even say like on the low end, like
Yeah, even
8,000.
3, like say on the low end. Yeah.
Yeah, so even like if we're talking like, if we cut it in between, like it's just like 4,000 or so per deal. Like just on like on the think about objections alone, right? Like each month we'd be losing out on like $16,000 like in commissions. It could be trouble, right?
Yeah.
So for you, like how are you going to be able to overcome those think about it objections? Like if we can't overcome that own objection in our own head, like right now.
Yeah, look at you using your system on me. I see. Yeah, look, just seriously, just give me the 24 hours on this. Look, this is for me. Like I just don't want to make that impulse.
If I can help, I can help. If I can't, I can't. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get you to do anything that's like not going to help you, man. But I'm saying like if you're going to sit across from somebody and ask them to make a decision, all right? If we can't overcome that own objection in our own head, like how are we going to get them to overcome that objection?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's more risky at the end of the day, right? You getting the skills. So like at like baseline, just overcoming like those objections, making an extra 16,000 like per month, or like pushing off, like which one's more risky?
Yeah, obviously the option.
Yeah.
Now, one question I do have. So for this, within like, let's say I do sign up and get this going, how quickly would it go from like, okay, hey, I can actually start implementing like?
Dude, right away. Right. So it's like typically what we see within like the first like 2 weeks is a good like 20% bump. Right. Most of that just comes from just stop doing the things that hurt you. Okay. So like that's step number 1. Like it's a lot easier just to take out bad than it is to put in good. Okay. So it's like taking out bad. Typically it's pretty like once you understand like, okay, I shouldn't be doing that. Once we take that out, then it's like,
you think so? Really?
Right? Yeah.
No, I'm curious because I feel like, getting over bad habits can be hard. Right.
Right. Well, it's like once you're conscious of it. Right.
Okay.
So it's like now that we're conscious of it, we're going through it, then it's like we can take out like just things like some like neutral, like whatever it is. Right?
Yeah. And okay, so now that we're talking about this, so like say it's like, I move forward with this, right? At what point would I be able to say, okay, hey, here's like my language that I'm using on these calls? Like how quickly can we go and like sit through it and then break it down with?
So that'd be whenever you'd be able to make a call. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's like you have access to calls every single day. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So you'd be able to hop on, especially like with the role plays and things along those lines too, to get feedback on how you're going about the process like right away. You can hop on one today if you wanted.
Okay.
And so it just comes down to like the support. There's no lack of support there. It just comes down to like for you, man, like I think we both agree, like we want to get you to be like that 7-figure guy. But like what I need on my end is like that commitment. And then like, bro, we can take care of the rest. Like we'll pull you there. But it's like we need that commitment on your end.
Okay. Makes sense. We're gonna play the quiet game, staring game here. Yeah, look, I'll come back to you tomorrow 100%. But I'm interested. I'm about 90%. Just let me
what's
really read on
just to see if like if there's something I can help with, right? Because if I can help, I can help. If I can't, I can't help. Right? Like what's that last 10%?
Just the cost, man. It's like it's not cheap, right? Like, and I get it when I'm asking clients too. It's like, hey, some of these things we're doing, it's not cheap, but it's just that thing right now. So it's like I need
100%, dude.
So that's it. It's just a budget. That's all. And I mean, just don't like the spreading over 3 months doesn't really make sense either. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it all on just one payment and go. Right?
Like would the one payment like work in your budgetary restraints?
Yeah, it would, but it's just like take out all.
Well, if you just had like a duffel bag full of cash, just like good to go.
right? And it's like for your training purposes, right? Like, would this be the answer for you?
Yeah, actually, yeah. The reason
Okay,
is right now
why
is like,
why would it be the answer for you though?
well, because I need to give I need a change, right? I need that change.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. My fear is that it's like, okay, what if this doesn't end up helping me at the end? And then it's like, man, I just spent another.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we've helped thousands of people in your space, right? Like, is there any particular reason why you feel like it won't work for you?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. And like, I get it. And like taking that leap is always scary, right? And I'm not going to take that away from you, man. Right. Even like, bro, at this point in time, I've probably spent like 30,000, like as far as like, investment, like, mentors and things like that. Like it doesn't get any easier, bro. Like the only thing that really changes is like, that voice in your head gets a little bit quieter. Because it's like the voice is always telling you, hey, just play it safe. Don't do it. And then there's the other voice. It's like, okay, let's fucking get after it, right? We always have those two voices fighting each other. I call it like the bitch voice and the boss voice, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is like whichever voice we feed gets louder. All right. Just with anything. So if we give in to the one now, right, it's telling you not to do anything, like it just gets louder. And oftentimes for people, like it gets so loud that it drowns out the other one. So for you, when we're talking about
gonna take that and use that in my language.
Yeah.
I like that part. That's good,
man. Because we're talking about you being that 7-figure earner.
Yeah.
Right? Like you actually walking into that. What voice does that person listen to? The boss voice or the bitch voice?
Yeah, nobody wants a little bitch, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's like what decisions we have to start making in order to get there. Because in order to be that 7-figure guy, we have to start making decisions like we're already there. For example, man, some morbidly obese person doesn't get a 6-pack and then start, going to the gym. Like we start going to the gym now. So what decisions do you have to start making now in order to actually be that 7-figure earner?
Man, you got me. Let's do it. Fuck it.
All right, bro. I just need a bit of info from you and then get everything set up.
Let's go.
All right. So the last things that I'm going to be covering is going to be a couple other things that are going to be more smokescreen objections. So I know you're saying like, Christian, this is amazing. How can I even be taking in more information? Like, let me tell you, bro, let me give you some more. Let me give you some more sweet, hot sales juice. So I would say like the two that I'll go ahead and go over is like, hey, can I talk to referrals? And I need to talk to other companies. Now, the reason why these are tricky is because all these smoke screens, they can either be like, hey, I just want to see what's out there. This is how I always make decisions, or there's a real objection underlying. So with all of these, you really just need to understand either is it this is just how they make decisions, which means you need to debunk it, or there's a real objection underneath it. So first and foremost, let's go over like, hey, can I talk to referrals? Now, depending on what you sell, you might say this a little bit differently, but generally speaking, this is how we're going to go about it. They're like, hey, can I talk to referrals? Like, yeah, you definitely could. But as you might assume, like once you start working with us, like, you get fairly busy. So what are you hoping to get out of that confro that maybe we didn't cover here? Okay. They're either going to tell you the real objection or they're just going to say like, hey, I just want to hear it from them. Okay, man. And I can appreciate that. Like I do have to ask, if I'm going to send you someone over to you, do you feel like they're going to have like good things to say or they're going to have bad things to say? Right? Like if I send you somebody who's like, I'm sending them over to you, do you think like they're going to say bad things or, do you think they're going to say good things? Now, what I'm doing there is I'm getting them to admit like, hey, you already know how this conversation is going to go. You already know I'm going to send you somebody who's actually sold, who got great results, are going to tell you the same thing. So the conversation is pointless. Right? And if I send somebody over to you, they're going to say good things. So we already know how that conversation is going to go. So no matter what you're looking for, you're going to find it. Okay? Like, no matter what you're looking for online, you're going to find it. Like they have 1-star reviews of puppies out there. So are you looking for reasons to do this or are you looking for reasons not to do this? They should be saying, they're going to say one and the other, and then you're going to ask them why. Why are you looking for reasons to do this? So what's really holding you back? Now, either they're going to tell you a real objection or they're going to say like, hey, I just need to know what's the right fit for me. Okay. That's when you're going to go clarity. Okay. So it sounds like you're just looking for clarity to make sure it's the right fit for you. Right. And can I share, and we all want that. Can I share my perspective on what clarity actually means? They're going to say yes. You never know what the weather is actually going to be at the beach tomorrow until you actually get there. So what's the only way that you're going to know if this works for you or not? You need to get them to admit the only way that they're going to know is if they do it, right? Cool. Now, sometimes you could get pushback if they're like, oh, well, I can check the Weather Channel. It's like, bro, have you ever checked the Weather Channel and then it's been wrong? Right. So the only way you're actually going to know is if you do it, if you actually go there. Like, would you agree? Okay. Get the buy-in. So what's actually having you wanting to be so sure before you actually give it a try? And then we get to the real objection. 9 times out of 10, it's just the money. So in this one, I'll be going over a role play where I go over that exact thing. Hey, can you just send me some references? And hopefully it's helpful.
But if they do say it, it's like, okay, like, I mean, potentially, we typically don't do that just because, again, we have videos of exactly what people's experience are, right? Like in their own words. Is there anything you're hoping to, I guess, get from talking to a referral that maybe we didn't, talk about today?
No, man, I'm just coming in from, a private equity firm, and that's just typically
Yeah.
how we go about, doing business, right? Like,
Yeah, and and I can understand it's how you done business over there, but it's a little bit different of a conversation. But help me understand, right? Because like again, anyone that I'd send over to you, like we already have them on video that you can see of them telling you what their experience is. Is there any reason why you feel like in a conversation with you, they would say anything different than what they're already on, video saying?
no, man, I just want to see, like, is
Yeah.
they a real person, or do they actually own a business? You know what I mean? Like, did they actually go
Right.
through the
Yeah, and it's like
process?
again, like you can definitely like look them up. But if I do send somebody over to you, right? Like, I'm gonna be biased. Do you feel like they're gonna have bad things to say, or do you feel like they're probably gonna have good things to say about us?
And I feel like if you're gonna send me someone, obviously you're gonna be good,
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
gonna be pretty obvious. So it's like you and I both know already how that conversation is gonna go. They're gonna have good things to say. They're gonna gas us up because again, like we're sending them to you. So really, whatever it is that you're looking for out there in terms of whether to do this, whether not do this, like you're gonna find. There's 1-star reviews of puppies out there, right? Like you can find those reviews. So really it just comes down to like right now at this moment, are you looking for reasons not to do this or are you looking for reasons to do this? Because you'll find both of them.
no, man, I'm trying to figure out, like, is this validated? Is this something that I can really do?
Yeah. And again, like we can figure and we can dive more into the details. But again, you'll find whatever it is you're looking for, like wherever you look. So you'll find reasons not to do this and you'll find reasons to do this, right? You can find a 1-star review of a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? So are you looking for right now reasons not to do this, right? And like not take the risk, or are you looking for reasons to actually do this?
Well, I want to do this, yeah.
Okay, but why would you be looking for reasons to do this though?
Always, man, like I trust you guys, like that. It's like,
Yeah.
the case studies are real and all
Yeah.
that. I just want to make
Well,
sure.
it's like I appreciate like you trust us, man, but like take us out of it for a little bit. Like, why would you actually want to like invest in yourself to make sure you get a business up and going and like you actually own that?
Well, it's just something I've always wanted to do, you know?
Yeah, man. And that's really what we're talking about right now. But if you already know like how that conversation's like gonna go, and we're gonna look for reasons to do that, like we already know like what's gonna happen, right? We're just prolonging the process. So it's like be real with you, be real with me, just between like me and you. Like what's actually holding you back right now?
Well, I guess it's just a little bit uncertain, right? Like I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out, like, is the program going to work for me? Is it
Yeah.
is it going to do what it says it's going to do? Are you guys going to source the deals that I'm actually looking for? You
Dude,
know?
100%. And I appreciate you being open with me. Like I do have to ask, if it's worked for thousands of people in the past, is there any particular reason why you feel like it wouldn't work for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, is there any reason why you feel like it? One, is there something that you saw that you feel like again, and worked for all these thousands of other people that are pretty similar to you, but it just wouldn't work for me? Is there anything that's coming up that makes you feel that way?
Not sure. I think I'm just trying to, I guess, just get a little bit more clarity, just get a little bit more
Yeah,
certainty.
yeah, and I can appreciate like we're looking for clarity, but can I make a suggestion on it?
Yeah.
Because like we have to understand what clarity actually is. Because you never know what the weather is going to be at the beach until like you get there, right? So what's the only way that you're truly going to understand? Even if you talk to all the referrals, even if you talk and you watch all the testimonials, what's the only tangible way that we're going to know if this works for you or not?
I guess if I join the program.
Yeah, like we got to do it, man, right? Like that's the only way we're going to know, right? And I don't want to say like again like doing something to where it's like there's always going to be a little bit of uncertainty. We're never going to be able to get rid of it completely, but always taking a little bit of that leap. I don't want to say it's scary, but it's kind of scary in a way, right?
I don't know about scary, man. Like I've had some business experience in the past. It's just,
Mhm.
I guess, just trying to make sure that you guys uphold your end of the agreement itself. That you're actually going to
Yeah.
source me everything. You
Yeah,
know?
and it's like, and again, we can definitely get into the agreement, but is there any particular reason why you feel with everything that I covered here, which I am on camera saying, which is legally binding, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Okay. Is there any reason why you feel like I would put myself in legal risk to tell you something that we wouldn't be able to do?
Oh man, I don't know.
Well, so you can be real with me, man. Like I'm on your team. Do you feel like, I would want to put myself in legal risk just to sell you something that we want to be able to do?
Well, no, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You could be lying. I have no idea. But I think
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
just
we definitely could be, right? But does a business, well, how long has your guys' business been in?
not too long, like 4 years. Is
See,
that?
that's still a good amount of time. But does a business get to like, be 4 years in business and really be dealing with, thousands of clients? Do they get to that point lying to people?
Well, I guess not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's
It
like
could be
on some
people.
level, right? Like, how are we ever going to know? Because again, I can show you things from now until next month, but what's the only way we're going to actually know?
I guess if I buy the actual program.
Yeah, so we move forward, man. So it just comes down to, and I get taking that leap. Like, there's always going to be a bit of that hesitancy, like coming up. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just comes down to what you're feeling right now. This is exactly what you're supposed to feel. Because who do you know that really grows inside their comfort zone?
I guess nobody.
Right, man. So if you're over there and you weren't hesitant at all, man, like you're cool as a cucumber, to have check your pulse, right? Because it means like we're not talking about anything important and we're not getting out of our comfort zone. So this feeling you're feeling right now of being a little bit uncertain, right? This isn't gonna go away. All we get to do is actually we get to choose how we deal with this feeling. Because right now we have two options. Like number one, we can feel a little bit of uncertainty, right, of just the unknown, and we can allow it to constrict us. Like we don't take action, we don't buy a business, we don't move forward. And hey, like there's people that do that their entire lives, and I don't want you to fall down that trap. Like the second option, and I'm not going to say it's easy, but the second option is we can take this feeling we're feeling right now and we can shape it. And we can shape it into taking massive action. So now we put some skin in the game and this has to work because we make it work. So which one would you rather do? Okay, allow it to constrict you or shape it into taking massive action?
Yeah, man. I could get that. The motivation is good, man. But
Yeah,
I
well,
just
it's
want to
like
be able to.
again, like I'm trying to understand. Would you rather allow this feeling to constrict you or shape you into taking massive action?
I don't know, man. It's just, I guess it is just uncomfortable doing business a little bit differently. Just because I've been
Yeah,
in private equity for like 15 years, and it's just kind of like we shake hands quite often, you know?
yeah, 100%, man, right? And it's like, did you come here for things to stay the same?
Well, I guess not.
Right. So if things were exactly the same as they were before, like we said, we're not growing, right? We should be feeling something different because we're getting out of our comfort zone. So it just comes down to now that we are feeling that different, we are feeling that slight uncomfortability. Are we going to allow it to constrict us or actually shape it to make sure we get different outcomes and we take massive action?
Like I said, rather shape it to be able to take some action
But why though?
because I want to be able to own the business that I'm looking for. Like,
Yeah, but
I
like,
want to
and
be
I
able to.
appreciate like that's a want, right? But for you, is that a need?
I guess so. Like,
You don't sound too sure about it though.
I mean, yeah, like I do want it. I do want to be able to kind of do what I need to be able to do.
Yeah,
To be able.
but it comes down to do like, and I'm gonna be super straightforward with you because like I genuinely care. Do you know the difference between a want and a need?
Well, yeah, like want is like it's if I
Yeah, like
want
a
it, but if I need it.
once if it's convenient, but you being able to transition full time, owning your own business, and be able to get out of your job, is that gonna be like a super convenient thing?
Oh, it's not going to be convenient.
Right, like a need is I'll do whatever it takes. Right, we make it work, we make it happen. So would you be willing to change that? Wait, hey, I want to do this to it's like, I need to do this?
I guess so, yeah.
You don't sound too sure about it, man.
No, I want to be able to like make it a need. I want to be able to prioritize
Yeah, well,
this.
I know we want to do that, right? But would you be willing to?
Yeah, I'm willing
Okay. Why are you willing to make it a need?
because, well, I want to be able to own my own thing. I guess I need, I guess I need to be able to own what
Yeah.
need to own in order for me to get what I want.
Yeah, so then it comes down to right now, what if we allow this feeling we're feeling right now, this uncomfortability, because we're in an uncomfortable situation, because we're in something different. What if we allow that to constrict us and we never actually fulfill the need of owning our own business? Like, what happens if we allow it to prevent us?
Then I'll stay the same.
Okay. Some people are fine with that. So what's the day-to-day impact of you?
You broke up a little.
So what's the day-to-day impact of you staying the same?
Because I'll stay in the same job in private equity, and I'll make good money, but I guess I won't really be able to have the time I need to kind of do what I want.
But why are you not okay with that?
Well, man, I want to be able to spend time with my family, like at least a little bit,
Right. And it's like, that's what I want for you, man. So it just comes down to like, now we're coming up to a hard decision. So what do we need to do to make sure we're doing everything in our power possible to be there for our family and actually get what we need and step into becoming a business owner? Like, what do we need to do?
Change.
Okay. Change is hard. Are you up for it?
I think so, yeah.
You think?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So the next steps to go ahead and change, we just go ahead, we take the investment and we get you set up. So work, man.
Yeah, man. I guess there wouldn't be any way for me to be able to like talk to anybody though.
Yeah, and so like, again, typically we're not going to do that. But all that's going to do, because you already know how that conversation is going to go, it's just prolonging this process right now. It's prolonging you being in this uncomfortable situation and not taking the action that's required. Okay. You already know how that conversation is going to go, man. I'm going to send you somebody who's going to have great things to say. Because would I send you somebody who doesn't have great things to say?
Probably not, no.
Right. Like, you already know how the conversation is going to go, man. So it's like right now, all that's doing is it's distancing us from having to make this tough decision. Right. And I'm not going to take that away from you. It is tough, but it's a decision that needs to be made right now if we want something different. So what do we got to do?
I guess change.
Okay. Are you up to take that step?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it, man.
And then the last one is going to be, I need to talk to other companies. Now, this one is a little bit trickier, I would say, than referrals, because a lot of it is going to be contingent on, is it value? Is there something in these other companies that they want, like actual things? Or is it the money? Is this how they always make decisions? You need to understand why they need to talk to other companies. Then and only then can you actually debunk it. Okay. So what you need to do is like, okay, that's not a problem. Just to see if I can help. What are you hoping to get out of those other quotes? Or what are you hoping to get out of talking to these other companies just so I can understand? If they say, I just want to see what's out there, you go clarity, just like we were talking about before. If they say, hey, always make decisions this way, we go to decision-making process, right? Like we talked about before. And if they say like, hey, I just want something cheaper or it's a value thing, then we need to address the real objection. Okay. So here's a role play where we go over that specifically. And on this role play, again, I tell them to be tougher, right? I'm role playing with the Indian. How do you sell Indians? You got to role play with them. So hopefully this is enjoyable.
So it's like, okay, and what are you hoping to get out of the conversation with the other companies, just to see how I can best help?
Well, just not anything specific, but as I mentioned that I'm new into job search and you have laid out like new solutions that I'm not aware of. So I just want to see maybe there are different approaches that other competitors are following, and maybe I can just choose the best one.
And as far as like choosing the best one, I guess like what criteria would you be using to know for sure which one is the best?
As of now, I'm not aware of it. Like money makes sense for me that
Okay.
however
Yeah,
much you're charging.
that could definitely be an issue if we're not aware of that. And as far as that, do you have other like actual book calls, or are we still just
Yeah.
more? Okay, cool. Like how many other book calls do you have?
So two.
Okay, you have two. Is there any reason why we don't have three?
Um, I'm not aware of. Maybe somebody would be there, so I would just
Okay.
go on and book with them as well.
Yeah. Any reason why we just don't have one extra book call?
Maybe only three people have showed up on my feed so far.
Okay. Right. But if like five or six show up on your feed, are we going to take more of those calls, or is there like a set limit?
Yeah, the set limit is like three, four,
Yeah. Why four? Why not seven?
because it's like when I'm looking at different people, most of them
Mhm.
are using the same strategies from their
Yeah.
VSL. I
Okay.
can see that.
Okay. And I guess for you, how besides price, right? Because let's say we're all fairly similar when it comes to price. Like, how are you going to decide which one of these actually is going to be the best fit for you?
I think like just the best approach I would take.
Yeah, but and I can appreciate we want the best approach. Like everyone wants the best approach, but how are you going to know which one is the best approach?
When I've had that conversation and all the three options are laid out in front of me, I
Yeah.
can choose whichever works best for me.
Okay. I do have to ask, and I hate to come across like maybe a little redundant. How are you going to know which one works best for you?
Mm. Not sure.
Yeah, that definitely could be an issue. And I could definitely appreciate where you're coming from. Um, I guess can I be a little bit straightforward with maybe without you getting upset at me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I can appreciate like we want to do the best thing possible, but if
Mhm.
this isn't our area of expertise and we don't really understand or know what to look for to make the best decision, does it really help
Mhm.
us to hop on call after call after call? Like for example, like I don't know anything about plumbing, right? And if my toilet's broken, does it really help me to talk to five different plumbers if they're all going to tell me that they can fix it and they're all just giving me different quotes? If I don't really know how to make that decision, does that help me?
Mm, that's an interesting take you have.
But does it actually help me if I don't really have any criteria to make that decision?
It can help me, yeah.
Okay,
And
but
depending on person to person.
well again, if I don't understand how to make that decision, like does it actually help me to have again 2 3 4 5 10 hours of conversations about fixing the problem when I don't even know what the criteria is to fix it?
I mean, I know something about job search.
Yeah,
I've
and
been doing.
I can definitely appreciate that, but I'm talking about like for me, like would it make
Hmm.
sense to have 10-hour conversations with plumbers versus like actually just getting it fixed?
Oh yeah, for you, if the plumbing is the case, then yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so it just comes down to, do you actually value your time? Because again, like you can hop on calls until like next week, next month, next year if you truly wanted to. But having these different conversations, especially if we don't have a clear criteria of how we're going to make that decision, like do you value your time versus going with something that, we talked about here and we know works. So that way, tomorrow, next week, next month, we're already in a position and we're not stuck in this conversation loop.
Yeah, so there could be a criteria though. Let's say you're giving me an assistant
Hmm.
for 2 months. What if somebody is giving me for 3 months?
Okay.
Or maybe they have a completely different
Yeah.
outreach method
But how are you going to know any of these outreach methods actually work?
until I give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just comes down
Yeah.
to, and like I can definitely appreciate like we want to like listen to these different things. But the only way we're gonna know if it works or not is if we actually do it. If we don't have a criteria to actually know which one is gonna work and which one isn't gonna work, does it actually benefit you to talk and spend another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours talking about solutions versus actually solving the problem? Which one's gonna be a better use of your time?
I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
Well, which one is going to be
So
a better
at,
use of your time?
yeah, I think just giving it a try.
Yeah. But what would happen though if we waste another 5 hours and we have to have this conversation 2 weeks from now, and now we're 2 weeks behind? Do you want to be 2 weeks behind?
No.
Okay, so what do we got to do, right? All right, so hopefully that training was helpful. And if you want to work one-on-one with me so you can actually dial in your objection handling process to make sure you can overcome every objection and start making some real fucking money in sales, check out the first link. If not, just leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.